I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal. I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal.
That's a damn church right there. That's time for the church, son. We about to have an eyes wide shut church party in the basement. That's what they call an after party. Y'all ever heard of the after party? You know what I'm saying?
I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal. I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal.
I put my key in the ignition. Hot and fresh out the kitchen. I put my key in the ignition. Hot and fresh out the kitchen. Sipping on poking wrong. I'm like, so what, I'm drunk. It's a freaking weekend, baby. We about to have some church.
I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal. I was born in Romania.
What's up, everybody? Dude, that one is so funny. I don't know why. It's just awesome, dude. Welcome everybody to the channel, dude. I was in court for like 5 hours today, man. I just like waiting to be called. It was a pretty rough day. So excited to be here, excited to be with y'all. We have some updates, boys. We have some updates on what's going on. CanonAndCreed is crashing out, man. This guy was crashing out on Twitter. He was like totally losing it, dude. Yo, Alex in the house. And guess what, guys? I downloaded the Brave browser, so I don't have to keep on giving 12 cents to Miles every like 2-3 minutes. So, thanks for being here after court. It's my pleasure, man. It's how I unwind. We had a good day today, actually. I cut a deal, got somebody out of a lot of trouble, and probably got them something more than reasonable for themselves, so it's good. I just watched the Jesus and whatnot thing from your stream because I had no way to watch it. Yeah, dog, he took it down. Bryce in the house, guys. By the way, give Bryce a like and a follow, subscribe on YouTube. Bryce is the up-and-coming philosophy bro. So you guys want like the in-depth metaphysical arguments, like Bryce is the man for that. He's the up-and-coming philosophy bro for sure. Also, he like took over a TikTok. It was insanely bad. Yeah, I kind of wish I would have played the whole thing. Contemporary Compendium with 5 memberships, dude. Thank you. Let's go. Aylin Kane has become a member. Thank you, Aylin Kane. Dude, you guys are awesome. Dude, right off the rip with the 5 gifted from Compendium. Dude, I feel like I got to get one of those like announcement soundboards that Christian Mario has. But yeah, Bryce is a total brainiac, guys. What else is going on here? I keep on losing track of the chat. It was insanely bad. Yeah, it was insanely bad, Bryce. He keeps on shifting categories. He doesn't realize when he's talking about God in himself and the energeia outside himself. Octavian, welcome to Interlocutor. What's up, Octavian? Good to see you, man. Super chat from Aylin Kane, 5 for another great Alex. Another great Alex. Thanks, I'll take it. W, thank you for the super chats and the gifted, guys. I'm about to quit my job any day now. Ew, my boss is watching this. I'm just kidding. No, if I could dedicate everybody knows that if I could dedicate my life to the Lord and just do this and dedicate my life to like kingdom work, I would. I certainly would. Energeia, yes, Energeia, Akathist. Energeia. Okay, so we have some Twitter drama to catch up on. Here we go. Here I am. Okay. I guess let's start here. So let me give you a demonstration of how a normal person interacts with other people on Twitter. Okay. This is a normal person interaction. So, I'm debating Elijah Yassey. I forgot where we actually, interacted and decided to debate, but I guess I could show you guys the chats actually. This is how you talk as a normal person, right? I don't think there's anything too secret in here. I'll just show a little bit. I don't want to upset Elijah. Okay, so it was something like we were in the comments. It was like, oh, we'll see the DMs. So I go, hey, Elijah, glad to make your acquaintance. Is there a particular video you recommend for me to understand your position? Because he's always complaining people mischaracterize his position. I'd be down to debate. I just want to gauge exactly how much we disagree. If we agree more than disagree, maybe a dialogue would be more suitable to combat misconceptions. Let me know. God bless. He responds. He says, hey, brother, I appreciate the cordial and fair response. And he sends me a link. Says, this would be the video. It's specifically on papal infallibility and the whole minimalist thing. I would prefer a dialogue over a debate any day of the week. So in response, I make a joke. My bad, cope and seethe, papist. Now that we got that out of the way, LOL. Right? This is how normal people talk, okay? And he responds, he says, hope to hear from you soon, man. Take your time. God bless you. Great. I would definitely like to engage on this issue because terminology gets so blurred in the comment sections. It seems to me that the wording of Vatican I is very precise and purposeful. I guess I'll watch your video today or tomorrow and I'll follow up. Thanks for tagging. We end up agreeing to a debate. And this is how normal people talk. Okay. You don't go around, start calling people names. And then this is look, now you get a debate. This is nice, normal people. Okay. Here's how another normal person interacts on Twitter, right? You tag some people. I was shooting a bit above my weight class with shameless popery, not intellectually, but in terms of followers, this was a few months ago. I might have had 4,000 subscribers at this point. I don't know, 4,000 subscribers. I just whatever, shoot your shot, right? Tag shameless popery because I got some momentum behind this comment. Eric Ibarra leaves a nice comment. I say thank you. Shameless popery. Joe Heschmeyer responds, Alex, I'm definitely interested. I was already talking about sitting down with Justin Menard. Maybe we pivot to a dialogue or debate with you and having him moderate. Might not be until the spring. Would that work? Absolutely. Let's do it. This is how normal people talk. Okay. Theos is my dog. Yeah. And even these guys, Gavin Ortland, Need God, Bible in Context. Okay, I'll be honest, with Gavin Ortland and Need God, I think their YouTube channels are way bigger than mine. So with those two, I was shooting out of my weight class. With Bible in Context, I don't think his channel's that much bigger than mine. So I think that was probably a fair one to tag. And they ignored me. Fine. That's a perfectly fine option, right? If I tag somebody and challenge them to a debate, right? They have a few options. They can say, yes, fine, I'll debate, or not now, I'll debate you later, or when your channel grows a little bit more, then I'll debate you, fine. You can say, no, I don't want to debate you, or you can just ignore me and not say anything at all. All of those are perfectly viable options for normal people. Now, which one of those options do you think CanonAndCreed chose to take in interacting with me on Twitter? Which one of those options did he choose? None of them. Not even one. He didn't choose one of those options. He chose literally the weirdest possible option to respond to my tweets, and he started crashing out. And it looked really bad on his part, I thought. So here's my first tweet trying to engage him a little bit. And I knew he was friends with Ben with CleavetoAntiquity, so I didn't want to come at him too hard or whatever. I try to be friendly with everybody, as you saw with Elijah and with Joe Heschmeyer. And in the videos, yeah, I came at Joe a little hard in that video, but that's part of the game, man. That's part of the game. And people understand that, right? And you're not supposed to take it personally. And the thing is, I do at the end of the day care about these people and their salvation. So sometimes you need to tell them just bluntly and forthrightly, like, hey, this is wrong. You are wrong on this. Join the Orthodox Church. You are wrong, right? So I say per subscriber request, I'll be reacting to Canon and Creed's slander of Father Josiah Trenum at noon EST today. Great. Okay. What does he respond? This is fine. Like, this is I had a little bit of sass in my tweet. He had a little bit of sass back. Fine. Slander is an interesting word choice, given that Josiah Trenum's book is littered with exactly that. So I didn't even bother responding to this. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. LOL. This kind of builds up the encounter, if anything, right? So I'm fine with that. I thought he started acting so weird with Orthodox Wario. Like, this is the thing that kind of got my attention, was when he said, I don't give a damn what you demand or think. You're owed nothing. Like, this is such a weird attitude to me. It came off as like super defensive when like it's just like some Mario character. Anemone. What's up, dude? Glad to have you in here. $5 super chat. What are the odds that Cleve is out there in the middle of the ocean desperately trying to connect to the ship's Wi-Fi while his family plays shuffleboard? I think he's enjoying his vacation. His Cleve is quite a bit of a workhorse. Like, he really enjoys putting out content and being efficient with his time. He gets a lot of satisfaction out of work. That guy, CleavetoAntiquity. He likes staying busy. He likes having a packed schedule. It makes him feel like he's honoring God with his time by not wasting it. So it wouldn't surprise me if the thought crosses his mind to try to log on. But I think because he works so hard, he would also like, okay, I'm going to dedicate this time to my family, right? So, okay, back to the Twitter drama. I thought this was a really weird comment where he said, I don't give a damn what you demand or think. Because it's like, dude, this is clearly a troll account. Like, what are you doing getting so mad over this? Orthodox Wario, $2. What's up? I'm glad you're here, man. I'm just an innocent Nintendo bro. Yeah, he acted so weird with you, dog. I was like, this guy has like a tongue-in-cheek account where he's like, yeah, he'll make like some serious posts, but most of the time it's like tongue-in-cheek, like ironic kind of posting. He called you a goofball, which is like fine. But then he said, I take no one who defends Rock and Sand seriously. That's kind of strange, but I was going to let that go. And then this I thought was weird. He said, I don't give a damn what you demand or think. You're owed nothing. It's not very ironic of him. Oh, and then there's this guy, Joshua Pearsall. Okay. I have no idea who he is, what his channel. I think he has like a small YouTube channel. And he started talking a bunch of smack about me. He said, a video he opened up with admitting he hadn't really watched it or done research. Okay, well, now he just smuggled in done research. Like, dog, I read Josiah Trenum's Rock and Sand, and I read Irenaeus, and like I pulled up the books on stream. Like, this is just betraying. Like, this just kind of makes me not want to take these people very seriously, because like he clearly didn't watch the stream. Like, how can he have responded if he didn't check citations and research? Did I not check citations live on stream, guys? If you didn't go check citations and research and put in the work, check all the references, because it's a reaction video, dog. It's not a full out response. I literally put it in the title. It's a reaction video. As a lawyer, he should know how answering a case works. And then that hurt my feelings a little bit because he pulled out the lawyer card. But I mean, like, let's take a look at some clips from my last stream, and let's see if Joshua Pearsall watched it. Okay, so here I am. I'm gonna move my camera here. Traditional lenses. That's Christian Mario. What's up, dude? Welcome to the stream. CanonAndCreed is a shadow boxer. Yeah, he's swinging at ghosts. He's swinging at the air. He's swinging at ghosts. He's not fighting anybody. So here's a clip from the stream. Should be useful. But okay, back to the video. Miles is accusing Father Josiah basically of shoddy scholarship and like carelessness in his citations. Let's check Miles's citation. Okay, so he says this quote is on page 3. I have page 3 right here. It's not on page 3. It's on page 2. Is this a man who didn't do research or check citations? Huh? Is this a man who didn't do research and didn't check citations? This man right here in the, the second little box. Let's do another one. Oh, man. Like, oh my God. I can't believe. Okay. Irenaeus against heresies. So that you guys know I'm not making things up. So that I can cite it exactly. Super chat. Is this a man who doesn't have citations? Or did the readings? Or did his research? What a joke, man. These people just, they talk without knowing what they're talking about. They don't know anything. They didn't check anything, and they're talking anyway. Why are you talking if you don't know what you're talking about? This is like, I think this is the first thing you learn in litigation. It's like, if you don't actually verify and check what you're going to say, don't freaking say it. Like, I do that, and I still make mistakes. Like that St. Isaac the Syrian thing apparently wasn't completely... it wasn't completely accurate. There was some nuance that I missed there, but like I checked everything like pretty thoroughly, and I still make mistakes. So like, what are you guys doing on Twitter? Not checking anything. How many mistakes do you think you're gonna make? Like, my goodness. Grow out dreads, Alex. I gotta get my beard lined up. It's been a minute since I've been to my guy. Duchano donated $5 super chat. Thank you, Duchano. CanonAndCreed forgot to ask ChatGPT how to properly respond to a reaction video about him. Cope and Creed. Canon and Seethe. Thank you for the $5. Very good. So, I mean, is this a guy who doesn't have citations and didn't do his research? Here's another one. Here's another one for you guys. The heck is this in? That's a little better. He cites the Shepherd of Hermas as scripture. And if you actually read St. Irenaeus on the apostolic preaching, clearly, he has a very much divine counsel kind of worldview that derives a lot from First Enoch. Is this a guy who didn't do the research and didn't do the reading? So, like, when I see stuff like this, like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, what are you even talking about? They don't know what they're talking about. They just say whatever comes to their mind. They say what they wish was true, instead of actually doing research. Now, they have no idea what they're talking about. And then, don't even get me started, dog, on this exchange I had with CanonAndCreed. Hold on. This was so, like, low tier. I was like, oh my God, dude. It was almost as bad as responding to his thing. Okay, where was this from? Because where did I see this? So, okay, so I see, like, I got his attention because he's, like, tagging me in some stuff. So I was like, dude, Gavin Ortland didn't respond. I'll give him one last chance. Give him, like, a little tag. Whatever. And I was like, well, let's do two birds and one stone, get CanonAndCreed in here too. Let's tag them. Because I'm desperately looking for debates. Like, I have some pretty big Roman Catholic debates lined up. You know who doesn't want to debate and have their ideas tested? The freaking Protestants. You know, I almost dropped my tangerine. The Protestants. It's so weird. Okay, where did I see this? Okay, so Orthodox Mickey quote tweeted what he said to Orthodox Wario, and I caught that he said this, which I thought was weird. I don't march to you or anyone else's orders. You guys are hilarious. And I was like, okay. He calls this a category error, but this is very clearly he's talking about his YouTube channel. Every single Orthodox content creator that I've talked to, like Christian Mario, Jay, they've all talked about how they have very tight relationships with their spiritual fathers, and they talk about their content on YouTube and like whether they go too far or not. I think in Jay's stream today, he talked about how he talked to his priest about, you know, the list that he put out on Twitter and how, like, the appropriateness of it, and like his priest had no problem with it, I guess. But like, dude, these people underestimate how much oversight we have. Dude, you know, as soon as I put that thing out about St. Isaac the Syrian in that video, you know who texted me like 5 minutes later? Father Peter Hears. He said, hey, this area about St. Isaac the Syrian in your latest video is not quite accurate. You might want to nuance that a little bit. I mean, we have such good policing and quality control. Like, if you're an Orthodox content creator worth your salt, like, everybody will reach out to you right away. Like, if you have good original content and you focus on quality, people will reach out to you right away. It's a pretty tightly knit community, and the policing, like the self-policing, is pretty strong, dude. They don't want errors to be out there. We want each other to succeed and win. So it caught my attention right away when he said, I don't march to you or anyone else's orders. Dude, I answer to so many people. Like, Father Peter Here's texted me on that video, my spiritual father, who is also my parish priest. I got lucky on that one. I was able to double up. He analyzes my videos, or like if I say anything inappropriate, he'll keep me in check. Yeah, dude, the comments section. And you know how many people have commented on my videos so far? And they're like, hey, do you have the blessing of your spiritual father or bishop to be putting these videos on YouTube? Probably like 20 people have actually gone as far to say like, hey, do you have, I hate to say this, brother, but I ask this of every Orthodox content creator. Do you have the blessing of your spiritual father? Yes, dude. Like, we are pretty tough on each other, man. So when he said this, I don't march to you or anyone else's orders, that got my attention right away. You guys are hilarious. Some random person makes a video, random person, LOL. So he's trying to discount my person. Makes it, I have a doctoral level degree, you know, like it's not in theology or philosophy, but I'm not a dummy. Some random person makes a video, then demands the person they engaged to engage with them in response. Demand. Okay, did I demand, guys? I'm pretty sure that what I put on Twitter was a request. I didn't demand anything. I requested. Just the same way I requested from Gavin, the same way I requested from Need God, the same way I requested from Bible in Context, and Elijah Yassey, and Joe Heschmeyer. Somehow I have normal interactions with all of these people. The one person that I don't have a normal interaction with is CanonAndCreed, because he acted like a total weirdo. Some random person makes a video and then demands the person they engage to engage with them in the response, and if not, if they don't, they're a coward. I never called him a coward. Maybe did I call him a coward on stream, guys? I don't remember calling him a coward. I think I said that his thing sounds a little, his video sounded a little chat GPT-y. Yeah. Am I getting super chats, guys? Whoa, I disappeared. Yeah, they're not show the. I have to fix this plugin, I guess. Chosen V3 199. Thank you for the super chat. Video on apostolic succession and Bible canon. I can do that. I can do that. I feel like it's an entailment of the one true church thing. So you need to have apostolic succession to be in the one true church. Did I miss any other super chats, guys? It looks like I'm up to date. Yeah. Cool. I might have called him a coward. Yeah, but I don't think that tweet was directed at you, man. I remember really looking into that tweet and thinking, dude, is this directed to me or at Orthodox Wario? To me. Okay, so he says some random person makes a video, then he's talking about me. Some random person makes a video, then demands the person they engaged to engage with them, which I never demanded that. I requested that in response. And if they don't, they're a coward. He's talking about this some random, he's talking about me. I don't think he's talking about you. Here, I think he's talking about you. In this paragraph, if I read it literally for like the words on the screen, it sounds like he's talking about me. Here he says, you're owed nothing, turning on your computer. This, again, this sounds like me. You're owed nothing, turning on your computer and spitballing off the cuff deserves zero attention, nor to be taken seriously. It's reaction content, dog. Chill. Like, what a weird response, dude. You're such a weirdo. I don't really give a rip if the Orthodox think I'm sincere or not. You guys aren't my target. This is like so ridiculous. The Orthodox are not my target. Hey, here's 3.5 hours ripping on Father Josiah Trenum, calling him names, calling him dishonest. And with dishonest framing, this guy needs to chill out, dog. It's Twitter. It's online apologetics. So I quote tweet this. Did Protz forget that being an apologist entails debates? If this is how you hold yourself against folks who disagree with your position, never call yourself an apologist again. Because I was like, dude, this is so ridiculous. Who talks like this? It's so weird. And then there was that other tweet where he said, like, I don't give a damn, blah, blah, blah. And I also had that in mind when I did this too. And then I talked about, like, I don't march to you or anyone else's orders, so no normative authority. Thank you. Referring to his freaking videos, dog, that, like, because that was very obviously in the context of the videos. So what does he respond? He responds and he says, ah, yes, unable to understand categories, I see. I forgot we were talking about in every area of life across the board, full stop, and not very obviously in the realm of content creation, LOL. And then, again, this part hurt my feelings. And you're a lawyer? Yikes. Like, oh, man, you got me there, I guess, guys. That is so low tier and dumb. So I quote tweet him again. Said, I was talking in the realm of content creation. Like, that deserved a triple laugh emoji because that was, like, so dumb. Like, how did he not catch that? Again, this reading comprehension is just bad reading comprehension. Bad reading comprehension. Dude, 5 gifted from Nixie. Nixie0489. 5 gifted. Thank you very much, Nixie. You are the man. Deacon Speaks donated $2 through Super Chat. Sanist Calvinist. Is he? He might be, actually, now that you mention it. I think, like, the other guy that pops into my mind is a Messenger of Truth and James White. Like, those are the 2 other guys that pop into my head. So he might be the sanest Calvinist. You guys might be right. So at this point, I was kind of frustrated. So I was like, I'm just going to say everything I have to say in one tweet here. So I said, I was talking about the realm of content creation. Like, you goober. Bad reading comprehension. 0 reading comprehension. That's got the chills. Every Orthodox content creator I've interacted with has a very tight relationship with their spiritual father, which includes discussing their videos. It keeps us from acting like total weirdos and saying things like, thinking you're owed attention and engagement because you demand it is the height of arrogance. Get over yourself. Like, what a weirdo. Who says that, dog? You've literally never talked to me even once. Yep, you presume to know my heart and read my intentions. This is the thing. When anybody makes a value judgment like this, he's presuming to know what I think. Thinking you're owed attention and engagement because you demand it is the height of arrogance. So he knows what I think. He can read minds now. He knows the state of my heart with arrogance, tells me I need to get over myself, as if he's my spiritual father and he needs to give me advice now. He's literally the exact same thing. He is what he's accusing me of. So I told him, you've literally never talked to me even once, yet you presume to know my heart and read my intentions. You are such a weirdo. This is weird behavior. Look, I was engaging your ideas. I cordially invite you to come on a stream and discuss. Otherwise, I'll just keep tearing apart your slander one stream at a time, which is precisely what I plan to do tonight. So, well, I tagged him one more time in this because I kind of wanted to publicize the new date for me and Yassi. Oh, great. Me and Yassi said, our debate on January 2nd will no doubt be a dogfight. I'm not going to go really hard, so you don't really got to train Yassi. You don't have to prepare. I'm not preparing at all. So it'll no doubt be a dogfight, but I'm confident that regardless of the outcome, we'll both hold ourselves as gentlemen because Yassi and I are friends. Like, Yassi is a father. He has children. He has a family. He has responsibilities. He has a job. Like, he doesn't really have to do any of this stuff. I think he does it for fun and for, like, educational purposes. And, you know, then I will educate him on January 2nd. But, but like, he's just a normal guy, dude. He's just trying to build up this thing, this online thing, online content creation. And we're all just trying to serve the kingdom full time. Deacon Speaks has become a member. Thank you, Deacon Speaks. And Deacon Speaks has gifted 5 memberships. Thank you. This is awesome. Thank you guys. W Deacon in the chat. $4.99. Ortho Joe through Super Chat. Thank you, Ortho Joe. W Ortho Joe. Keep up the good work. Loving your videos. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think the next few videos are going to be the entire interview with my spiritual father. It'll be like probably a part 1, part 2, and a part 3. Or just like a part 1 and a part 2. Where it'll be like his story, how he became. Yeah, he actually has a crazy story. He started from nothing. Nobody in his family was clergy. He was just in a village in Romania. He didn't even have the intention of becoming clergy. And then some Jehovah Witnesses tried to evangelize him and turn him to Jehovah, whatever Jehovah Witness, to the Watchtower cult. And he was like, man, I should learn about this God thing. And he ended up going to an Orthodox parish, and one of the cantors there kind of took him under their wing, and he ended up going to seminary and learning about God there. And he went from like a 13-year-old kid who didn't know the difference between Orthodoxy and Jehovah Witnesses to becoming a priest at the Patriarchal Cathedral in Bucharest. Or for my Romanian viewers, in Bucharest. So he had quite a climb, literally from obscurity, from like a nobody in a village to a pretty high up position in the Patriarchate. Yeah. So, and that's why he got to go on cool missions, like to get the Holy Fire from Jerusalem in 2011 and bring it back to Romania on a private plane. He has some other cool stories with like some of the relics at the Lavra in Ukraine, and you guys will hear all about it. So, okay. I guess that kind of covers it for the Twitter drama. Like, I've had very normal, like polite, cordial interactions even with everybody on Twitter. I mean, I guess maybe the exception is like the people that just don't want to interact with me at all. But otherwise, like everybody's been really nice. And just not saying anything at all, that's like normal too. What's not normal is like getting so defensive and weird, dude. Like, I don't know. Somebody said it was like a really feminine overreaction. I don't know, maybe somebody attacked him in the past and like he's jaded or something, because that was like, a normal person doesn't respond like that, man. Like, wouldn't everybody try to like go out of their way to be friends first? I don't know. I think it's weird. All right, let's see these comments, boys. I just got here. Is CanonAndCreed still saying stuff like Kof while constantly getting roasted? I mean, he got ratioed on like every single comment. Alex, did you see Wes and Jonathan Pajot talking about the Ark? Yes, I think Jonathan Pajot had like excellent points that Wes would not quite consider from an academic angle. Like, what's this herp derp? You can't spell overreacting without ovaries. Dude, I got the funniest chat, like hands down, easily. But yeah, that discussion between Wes and Jonathan Pajot, I thought that was quite funny. Because Jonathan Pajot was like, you can't like go in and quantify everything. In these ancient cultures, they have like traditions and practices that you can't account for. Alex, save everything but the mustache. Why? So I can have the Vlad the Impaler look? Or Romanian mustache? That's not a very ironic look, Octavian, that you're recommending there. Yeah. Weeb Gamer 236. I am a Roman Catholic, and I've been getting more interested in reading the Eastern Fathers, specifically St. Maximus and Nazianzus, but their works are so difficult to find. Recommendations. St. Vladimir's has some good stuff. SVS Press. I'd probably start with like these. There's also the Ecclesiastical Mystagogy. SVS, what? That is, yeah, St. Vladimir Seminary Press. SVS. These are pretty accessible and like pretty good translations, I think. I would not start with the Ambigua. That is pretty hard. The Ambigua, I would say you need to build up some foundation to get to that first. And for St. Gregory the theologian, there's this Eterna Press. This is Eterna Press. It's not I'll be honest, it's not the highest quality publication, but it's like everything is there, and I compared some of the translations to like New Advent, what they have on New Advent. And it's pretty close to New Advent. So, yeah, Eterna Press. They have like these big conglomerations. Like this one book has, I'll tell you, kind of important things. So, got a super chat? Got a member. Van Thaden 5170. Thank you for the membership. God bless you. So this Eterna Press edition has not all of the not all of the orations, but has quite a few of the orations. It has the 5 theological orations, which are like, those are the important ones. And it has select letters of St. Gregory Nazianzen. So this is a pretty good one. And I have a few from the Eterna Press series. It's Aeterna. Eterna Press. Like, I have the St. Athanasius one, the St. Basil one, St. Gregory of Nyssa, St. Ambrose, St. Jerome. The St. Jerome one, honestly, doesn't have the cool stuff in there. Like, I'm over here looking for, to have hard copies of his, what was it, his letter or his thing about Helvidius and about Vigilantius, like the ones where he talks a bunch of smack. These are like all the ones to, like, the nuns that he had, the nuns that he had relationships with. Not like friendly relationships, guys. And I have St. John Damascene and St. Anselm of that Eterna Press collection. It's pretty good. Okay. Orthodox trigger me to convert. Please come. Convert. Come to Orthodoxy. Alex, how long did it take until you felt ready to start defending the faith? Was when everybody kind of started chirping me from the Pentecostal community. If you look at my first video, it was kind of like a response. It's kind of like a response to the Romanian Pentecostals. And then I was just like listening to the online discourse, and I was like, this is kind of low tier, man. We need to like up this a bit, especially from the Protestant side. So it was maybe, I'd been studying for 2 years, but I hadn't been Orthodox for very long. When I was Calvinist, I thought I was smart, so I popped open St. Maximus and then realized I was dumb. I think that's everybody at first, right? Because we like, oh, let's go learn something and read St. Maximus. And then you're like, all right, so we're going to go one sentence at a time here. Alex, you are missing the massive 38-volume Philip Schaff Church Fathers set. Did I say Saint Anselm? Bro, my bad, dog. I catch myself making that mistake all the time when like I talk really fast and I'm talking about like Saint Cyprian and then Pope Saint Stephen or something, or like Pope Saint whatever, and like I accidentally call people saints that are not. I misspoke if I said Saint Anselm. My bad, guys. I do not think he's a saint. You're missing the massive 38-volume Philip Schaff Church Fathers set. Yeah, I kind of ended up just getting Church Fathers like one at a time. And then I was like, man, what if I just buy the Church Fathers set, then there's going to be a bunch of doubles. I can't do that either. I don't want to have a bunch of doubles. The Schaff set is free online. Yeah, I know. Yeah. What year were you received, Alex? At the beginning of this year, dog. The beginning of this year. That's why I was very careful to have everything in order before I started posting things online. I talked to my spiritual father, who talked to our bishop, who they kind of took it one video at a time. Clipped, cooked, refuted. Yeah. We kind of took it one video at a time, and they were like, okay, clearly like you're okay. So I approach every video in the same way that I approach my legal arguments. I try to make sure everything is very well sourced. Yeah. I read St. Maximus and the Philokalia, and that was over my pay grade. Yeah, man, you probably need some guidance to get through that one. So, okay, guys, let's get into this reaction content, I guess. Refute non-binding canons and fallible creed. Fallible canons and non-binding creed. See what he has to say. It's very weird, dude. Very weird. He's going to be upset because I didn't go through the whole video already and try to refute it. That I'm just reacting. Is there anything good in this one, guys? Again, I haven't watched it yet, so.
Father Josiah.
Oh, here we go.
Welcome and congratulations on a meticulously researched, documented, and well-written book.
Thanks.
So far, this is a W. Because all he's done is show Father Josiah. So far, this is a W.
A lot, Kevin. I'm happy to be with you today.
Very much enjoying the book and recommend it to both Protestants as well as Orthodox who want to know more about the Protestant Reformation and how we understand its many shapes and forms. First, Father, I think our listeners and viewers would be interested in some personal background. You come from a Reformed Calvinist tradition, don't you?
It's true. It's true. Though I am an Orthodox Christian. Now, I wasn't born and raised as an Orthodox Christian. I was born and raised as a Presbyterian in Southern California. That is my background.
And I understand that you studied with some pretty heavy Reformed heavyweights.
That's true. All of my formal education has been a Protestant education. I went to an evangelical undergraduate school called Westmont College, a very beautiful college.
Yo, when did I ever say that I was a theologian and an apologist? Every single video I say that I'm an Orthodox Christian and a lawyer who likes to talk about theology and apologetics. That is so dumb, dude. Orthodox less than a year, now a theologian and apologist. I mean, I have more oversight clearly than Canon and Creed. I have a lot of oversight. I have more oversight than those guys, so far this video is a W, guys.
College up in Santa Barbara, which is associated with the evangelical tradition. I did my Master's of Divinity at a Calvinist Reform School, graduating from Westminster Theological Seminary. And then I did my doctoral degree at a Church of England school, the University of Durham in Northern England. So I've been educated by the cream of the crop of Protestantism.
Who are some of the Reformed teachers that maybe some would know about, whom you studied under?
Well, I consider myself very blessed to have studied under some really talented Reformed minds. People like Dr. R.C. Sproul.
Very well known.
He's very well known. A fantastic communicator. He was my systematic theology professor. Dr. J.I. Packer, Dr. Sinclair Ferguson, John Gerstner, Roger Nicole, Richard Pratt, and the great, immensely intelligent John Frame, who in my opinion is perhaps the most competent Protestant Reformed theologian alive.
So great. We've established that Father Josiah is very qualified to talk about these things. Wonderful intro to the video. I love it. You're just discovering Orthodoxy with us and live streaming it. Yeah. And I think I have a few things to say about the conversation. Not saying I'm an expert or anything, but I'd love to have dialogues. I have the blessing of my spiritual father. What else do I need? I don't need anybody. I don't need a random guy on YouTube who has no subscribers. I don't need his approval. I have my spiritual father's approval. Who cares? The worst part is the predestination section, since he just used word games to say that God didn't predestine those to hell. Oh my God. Coping and seething. Let me guess, did he also say that all the church fathers are Presbyterian? Canon accuses Father Josiah of poisoning the well, but he himself poisons the well with his thumbnail by implying Father Josiah was dishonest in his book. Wait, what does he say? Refuting Father Josiah on the Reformation, Part 2, Calvin. Was it in like the thumbnail or something? Likeage, $5. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Protestants won't debate because they have no momentum and everything to lose. They gain nothing by giving orthodoxy publicity, simple as. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think they're in a damage control position right now. It's really like, guys, we cannot let the dam break. We need the dam. Like, if there's one, the dam has cracks all over it. And like what Gavin Ortland does, he has like this little bucket of like wet cement. He's going around and like slopping cement on the dam with every single video. Like Ike, bro, my bad. Like Ike, bro. All right, I'll remember that. Like Ike donated $5. Protestants won't debate because they have no momentum and everything to lose. They gain nothing by giving orthodoxy publicity. Simple as. Yeah, I think they're just kind of aware of the Streisand effect. And like, by talking about us at all, they give us attention, so they just ignore us. W. Alex, thank you, guys. A few years ago while inquiring, I watched this video like 6 or 7 times. Yeah, me too. Me too. Hollow Ending donated $4.99 through Super Chat. God bless you, Alex. Thank you, Hollow Ending. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. God bless you as well. You and your family. Calvinism's got to be the worst of the trad Protestant movements. Agreed. I can't stand it. Just look what happens when their top apologist debates an Orthodox. CleavetoAntiquity. Yeah, he converts. Look what happens when their top apologist debates an Orthodox. He converts. Glory to God. How many Orthodox catechumen are in your parish? And right now, our parish, the parish I'm at, is like quite ethnic. So usually the inquirers in the town that I'm in, they go to the OCA church. The OCA church in our town has quite a few inquirers. Also, there's a RoCor parish in my town too. We got quite a few Orthodox parishes in our town. So the RoCor parish and the OCA parish, they have all the inquirers and catechumens. I am Father Stephen DeYoung, and I approve this channel. Let's go, dude. Father Stephen DeYoung, glad to have you here. You are the man. We are just reacting to the Calvinist and online Presbyterian. Best endorsement ever, for real. Somebody, I'm about to screen capture that. I am Father Stephen DeYoung, and I approve this channel. I'm going to frame that, put it up in my home. I'm going to kiss it every morning like an icon. Welcome to the stream, guys. If you guys don't mind liking the video, that helps boost us in the algorithm quite a bit. Amazing Father Stephen. Father Stephen DeYoung. Can we get W's in the chat for Father Stephen DeYoung? W's in the chat for Father Stephen DeYoung. This man's pin it. Dude, how do I do that? Hold up. Boomer moment. Let's go, dude. W idea. Who said pin it? Campo Mambo. Thank you, Campo Mambo. W's in the chat for Father Stephen DeYoung. Okay. Let's get back to fallible canon and non-binding creed.
Part of the reason so many people have recommended Rock and Sand to me over the years is because of what we just heard. Once Orthodox folks find out that I'm Reformed, this book becomes the go-to recommendation. Father Trenham proudly cites his former Reformed credentials, born and raised Presbyterian, trained at Westminster Seminary, and mentored by some of the most recognized.
Orthodox Wario donated $2 through Super Chat. Father Stephen's new book is really good. Is that the Baal book? I haven't had the pleasure of making my way through it yet, but I'm very interested in it because... Also, guys, whenever you watch one of fallible canon and non-binding creeds videos, just do like a little thumbs down. Thumbs down. He still gets the engagement for it. So, but yeah, Father Stephen DeYoung. Okay, so there are 3 books of his that really, like, Religion of the Apostles was like huge in my Inquirer phase. That was like, there's so many linchpins in there of like how to understand the law. That like, okay, I don't know if I told Father Stephen DeYoung this also, that like I was introduced to Michael Heiser prior to Father Stephen DeYoung, or Michael Heiser's work. And I was like looking at this divine council and I was like, bro, this is like cutting edge, like brand new theology from an evangelical perspective, right? Like, wow, how have we not seen this divine council? And then I read Father Stephen DeYoung's book and he's like, so this has been our theology for 2,000 years. Like in Orthodoxy, it's not cutting edge, like it's not brand new, it's not rediscovered, it just always has been the theology. So yeah, Religion of the Apostles, St. Paul the Pharisee. St. Paul the Pharisee is very good. And God is a Man of War. Religion of the Apostles, dude, literally every section in Religion of the Apostles is excellent. And it's very rooted in scripture, which is also one of my, why I try to take that approach. The mic position is odd. Quick Father Stephen DeYoung glaze. Well, because I want everybody to read Religion of the Apostles, like, especially if you're coming from like a non-denom evangelical, like slightly more charismatic background. I think it fills in a lot of holes for us. The Heiser to Orthodoxy pipeline is real. Yeah, because I think that the people that read Michael Heiser, what's the subtitle to his book? Isn't it like Recovering the Spiritual View or something? Discovering the Supernatural World of the Bible, I think. Yeah, Rediscovering the Supernatural Worldview of the Bible. And people that are reading Michael Heiser, they want like spirituality in their Christianity. They don't want it to just be some intellectual assent or belief. They want to actually have a relationship with God. So I think that's why they end up going from Heiser to Orthodoxy, because like we have like all these components in our head that we know are important. Like we know historicity is important. We know spirituality is important. We know like mysticism, although the word is kind of a taboo in the English language. Mysticism is important. The intellectual component is also important. And the way Father Stephen DeYoung presents it in his book is like, dude, this is rooted in scripture. Like I'm just going to the Bible and historical and the history. Like the stuff in St. Paul the Pharisee is so cool because he appeals to Jewish traditions too, just for like the sake of the historical narrative. Deacon Speaks donated $10 through Super Chat. Thanks again, Deacon Speaks. Appreciate you, brother. What do you think of the idea that Calvinism turns God into a pagan-esque deity that hates his creation and requires a blood sacrifice akin to Allah? It kind of leads into dualistic ideas of God. I have heard of the Muslim connection before between like the Muslim Allah and the Calvinist God. And I think it's from this idea that like actus purus, fundamentally, that God is always fully actualized all the time. And if you read, honestly, what got me to understand this was Martin Luther's Bondage of the Will. This is some of the worst literature I've read in my life. I will throw shade at Martin Luther. Again, in an earlier stream, I said I like respect him for his courage, which it took a lot of guts for him to do what he did, but he got basically everything else wrong. But yeah, like the first chapter in Bondage of the Will, like he's just talking smack talk to Erasmus. Just talking smack. He doesn't even make any arguments. He literally just calls him names for the first chapter of the book. And then he talks about, like, he confuses person and nature and these like important distinctions. Says like, and there's a big problem where he says that God foreknows things because he wills it. This is kind of off topic from the stream topic, but I guess it's an interesting little bunny trail. Like, what does he say here? He says, he's talking smack to Erasmus, and here's what he says. He says, you insist that we should learn the immutability of God's will while forbidding us to know the immutability of his foreknowledge. Do you suppose that he does not will what he foreknows, or that he does not foreknow what he wills? If he wills what he foreknows, his will is eternal and changeless because his nature is so. From which it follows by resistless logic that all we do, however it may appear to us to be done mutably and contingently, is in reality done necessarily and immutably in respect of God's will. So it's like God is always fully actualized. He's always exercising his will. And his will never changes. So that means that everything is predetermined. It's a logic chain. That's all. Religion of the Apostles is insanely good. I don't know how you can get through that book and remain Protestant. It makes Protestant theology look like the Timu version, which it is. In Bible class this Sunday, my priest said Luther was spiritually sick and mentally ill. I mean, have you seen what he had to say about Moses? Luther's Gnosticism is grotesque in Bondage of the Will. That is the same impression I had. I couldn't finish the book. Okay. Octavian33 donated $9.99 through Super Chat. Father Stephen DeYoung, if a Catholic lurks in Orthodox chats, does he have to confess to his imam before receiving communion? I mean, it's the same God, right? Also, everyone should read Religion of the Apostles. Everyone should read Religion of the Apostles. That's right. Glory to God. Is there another Super Chat that didn't show up? I feel like the $2 ones are not showing up, guys. I apologize for that if that's the case. So Deacon Speaks, yeah, I think there is definitely something there about the, to come back around and answer that question. I definitely think there's something there about the Muslim Allah and the Calvinist God and that like determinism. Like that's not a coincidence that they're both determinists. They have a similar doctrine of God. They just don't really know that. Like the entailments are similar. The thumbnail says ignorant or dishonest. Yeah, okay, thank you, Weakest Avenger. Appreciate that. The Chosen V3 $1.99 Super Chat. Thank you, Chosen. The Christian King YouTuber will to debate you. He wants to debate me. I'm trying to punch up a little bit. Does he have an audience? I'm not trying to, like, no offense, but I'm trying to punch up a little bit here. Trying to punch up a weight class. Since God is Trinity, should we call it 3 knowledge rather than 4 knowledge? Folks, calm down. Yes, okay. Cyrus, thank you. Yes. Got to keep me on track, guys. Time to keep me on track. Okay. Back to the review. Thank you. You guys are so much fun in the comments that I forget what I'm actually here to do.
Recognizable names in the modern Reformed world, what he believes to be the cream of the crop, which is exactly why this section of the book raises the stakes. If any part of Rock and Sand should be careful, accurate, and fair, it should be this one. So in part 2, we're going to do exactly like we did in part 1, walk through some of his major claims and test how well they hold up to the historical record. But before we get into it, welcome to Canon and Creed. My name is Miles, and this is the channel where
at least I can see him a little better in this video. I think maybe he took some feedback seriously.
we are bullish on exploring historic Protestant faith practice and piety, all in a digestible manner. So if that sort of thing interests you, hit subscribe and come along for the ride. Father Trenum opens his treatment of the Reformed tradition exactly as he opened his treatment of Luther, not with theology, but with framing, before he ever critiques Reformed.
He's complaining about framing already, dude. He said at the beginning of the book, I'm going to analyze this from an Orthodox perspective. Anybody who writes a book is trying to prove a point. Anybody who makes a video is trying to prove a point. It's just so like he's upset that Father Josiah is trying to prove a point with his book. Of course, he's going to frame it in an Orthodox way because he's an Orthodox Christian. So goofy, dude.
Doctrine, he wants the reader to see John Calvin in a very particular way, which is why we have to start where he does.
Yeah, in the Orthodox way. Compendium. It's funny. It looks like a Corona logo, dude. I didn't even consider that. It kind of does. It looks like the same font. I didn't even notice that. D-sign one. It looks like a Corona logo. Yeah, it looks like the wheat tea, i.e. the beer, the fermented wheat tea.
He writes, the greatest of all the second-generation Protestant reformers, John Calvin, was born in 1509 in Noyon, France, into an aristocratic family. At the
Is Schuping's argument basically proskuneo means icons are idol worship? Well, that's a big problem because Daniel accepted proskuneo from King Nebuchadnezzar. Prophet Daniel in Daniel, I think it's chapter 4. So what is he going to do about that? Is Daniel also an idolater now? Because he accepted proskuneo worship from Nebuchadnezzar? It can't mean what he says it means. Alex, you gotta get a yellow mic cover to make amends. Bet maybe I can make peace out of this. Maybe I can make peace out of this situation yet. I should pursue all means of peace. All right, back to the video review, guys. Okay, so what's he saying? He's complaining about Father Josiah's framing, and this is the quote that he says is not fair or something, or frames it improperly. Let's look at exactly what Father Josiah says. So the greatest of all the second-generation Protestant reformers, John Calvin, was born in 1509 in Noyon, France, to an aristocratic family. Okay, so this is just a fact. At the age of 14, having finished his studies in his hometown, he went to study arts in Paris, the arts in Paris. This is also just a fact. During this period, he was deeply influenced by the humanists and studied theology under the leading Catholic theologians fighting Protestantism. Okay, so this is a judgment to say that he's influenced by the humanists, but because this section is not highlighted, I don't think this is the section that Cope and Creed is complaining about.
The age of 4.
Oops. By the time he was 24, Calvin had embraced the Reform movement and separated himself from the papacy. In the future, he would write that by a sudden conversion, his heart was softened toward God, and he became completely taken by desire to study piety and theology. I don't know why this is highlighted. This is like a nice sentence. In 1534, Calvin resigned his scholarships from the church and fled to Basel in 1535 for the next 30 years. He would give his heart and mind to advancing the cause of the Protestant Reformation and to synthesizing and perfecting the theology of Luther, Melanchthon, Bucer, and others. What's wrong with this? Let's, what does he complain about? Let's see.
14, having
Like, this seems like just he's reciting facts. This doesn't seem very scandalous to me.
finished his studies in his hometown, he went to study the arts in Paris. During this period, he was deeply influenced by the humanists and studied theology under the leading Catholic theologians fighting Protestantism. By the time he was 24, Calvin had embraced the Reform movement and separated himself from the papacy. In the future, he would write that by a sudden conversion, his heart was softened toward God, and he became completely taken by a desire to study piety and theology. In 1534, Calvin resigned his scholarships from the church and fled to Basel in 1535. For the next 30 years, he would give his heart and mind to advancing the cause of the Protestant Reformation and to synthesizing and perfecting the theology of Luther, Melanchthon, Bucer, and others. So you might be asking yourself, what's so nefarious about that? Well, right away, the image he's constructing is clear, and we need to see this. He's painting the picture.
That is literally my question, is what is wrong with that? He says the image he's painting is clear. What's the image? Yeah, it's 434. What's the image? The image is that he had a sudden conversion and his heart was softened towards God. This is like the evil. For the next 30 years, he would give his heart and mind to advancing the cause of the What's wrong? I don't see what's wrong with this. He dedicated himself to the Protestant Reformation. Maybe this would indicate like a little bit of like Gnosticism, which Calvin gets accused of sometimes. This is just reporting facts. There's nothing scandalous here. But let's see if Canon and Creed find something scandalous.
And as we're going to see, Calvin, the architect of a program that he would later enforce on an entire city. Not Calvin the pastor, not Calvin the reluctant minister, not Calvin the man drawn into ministry against his own plans. And just like in part 1 with Luther, this framing absolutely matters. If Calvin is introduced as a calculating mastermind, then
What? Guys, did you read the same thing I just read? Does this come off to you as a calculating mastermind? You give his heart and mind to advancing the cause of the Protestant Reformation and synthesizing and perfecting the theology of Martin Luther, Melanchthon, Bucer, and others. This is the Protestant mastermind, guys. Like, what on earth is he? Holy straw man, dog. Like, Father Josiah is saying that he is a Protestant mastermind. Like, what? Oh, Journey of Abundance, $5, super chat. Thank you for the donation. Journey of Abundance. God bless you. We're bullish on Protestant theology. Crying, coping, Wojak meme. Bet, dog. That is funny. Bro took the shadow boxing claim seriously. He pulled that out of his star. I agree. So a straw man. Wow. Yeah. This is the foundation. This is the foundation of his refuting Father Josiah Trenum part 2. This is his foundation. So remember what Canon and Creed's first claim is that the framing is wrong. Father Josiah framed John Calvin as a Protestant mastermind. August Ciora donated $4.99 through Super Chat. Thank you. God bless you. Do you think Jesus and whatnot not took down his video on the essence energies distinction because of your response? No, I think he took it down because of Jay's comment on the video. And he made, actually, I got to give him some credit, Jesus and whatnot, because he fully recognized that he was out of his league in debating Jay. And he made a funny Instagram reel actually about, like, he saw the Jay comment and then he like packed his suitcase, and like it was actually kind of funny. Like, I think that's a good natured way to be like, I'm not debating you, bro. Like, you're way out of my, and just like admitting, like, go debate somebody like Eric Ibarra, please. You know, that said, if you're gonna, I do have a little bit of an objection to that, because if you're gonna hold yourself out as an apologist or a debater, and you're gonna put out these views, you should also be open to receiving criticism. It's just whatever. Oh, also, I'd like to put a disclaimer on the stream. I can't believe I forgot to do this. This is extremely important, guys. I'd like to put a disclaimer because this is not an attack on Canon and Creed. I am not even refuting his video. This is an analysis for internal Orthodox purposes only. And if you guys have been following on Twitter, you know what I'm referencing. Basically, Canon and Creed said, this is not apologetics, this video, what he's doing. He said this is internal Protestant discussion and debate. Well, like, oh my goodness, what a I can't believe he said that, dog. Like, the radiated yellow radiated mic is frying his brain. I mean, I think it's a bit of cope and seethe and like some reading comprehension issues, because like even on Twitter, he wasn't really quite getting the reading comprehension part down. Trenum mostly sourced info on Calvin from works by Wendell and Selderhui. Miles hates their scholarship that treats Calvin this way, taking it out on Trenum. Yeah, probably. I think that's a more or less accurate assessment. Anemone donated $5 through Super Chat. Thank you, Anemone. I haven't read Rock and Sand yet. Does Father Josiah talk about Luther saying that he thought up sola fide while on the toilet? I don't recall that part. But that's funny. Did he actually? I think that's pretty funny. The stream is purely hypothetical. Yes, this is just an internal Orthodox dialogue. This is not directed towards Canon and Creed. We are internally refuting Canon and Creed. We're not holding this out as an apologetic, by the way. Father Stephen DeYoung, such a good analogy. I missed his comment. Where's his comment? This is not good. This is like the issue of Superman where God softens Lex Luthor's heart. Yeah. I'm not familiar with the issue, but I mean, maybe I should look it up. Calvin studied theology. He's a mastermind. This is all internal. Yes, guys. Okay, let's get back to the reaction. I am very sad that I did not catch that Superman reference from Father Stephen DeYoung. I'm going to read every single Superman comic now to not ever bear this shame again.
And just like in part 1 with Luther, this framing absolutely matters. If Calvin is introduced as a calculating mastermind, then his theology is going to look like the machinery of his own ambition. But
okay, as you guys just saw, this is totally fraudulent. He did not present John Calvin that way. He just said he studied theology.
That framing is selectively engineered. Notice what church historian Justo Gonzalez points out about this. He writes, Calvin had no intention of following the active lifestyle of the many Protestants who, in various parts of Europe...
I'm sorry, this chat is so funny. My boy Luther was farting away the demons, bro. Chill out. You guys are the best. 95 feces? You guys are gonna kill me, dog. 95 feces, dog. That is so funny. Oh, dude, I'm dead. Demon farts is rough, dog. Okay. I'm seriously gonna address this internally. Address this this video here for Orthodox only, not for Canon and Creed to
Notice what church historian Justo Gonzalez points out about this. He writes, Calvin had no intention of following the active lifestyle of the many Protestants who, in various parts of Europe, had become leaders of the Reformation. Although he respected and admired them, he was convinced that his gifts were not those of the pastor or the leader, but rather those of the scholar and author.
Dude, this sounds more like a Calvin mastermind than what Father Josiah said. He didn't want to be like the other leaders of the Reformation. He had no intention of following that active lifestyle. He was convinced that his gifts were not those of the pastor or the leader, but rather those of the scholar and author. That sounds more like mastermind behind the curtains. Like, I don't want to be facing forward. I want to be behind the curtains. Again, this just seems like a lack of reading comprehension.
After a short visit to Ferrara and another to France, he decided to settle in Strasbourg, where the Protestant cause was victorious, and where there was theological and literary activity that offered the proper milieu for the work he proposed to do.
So he wanted to go where the Protestant cause was victorious, and there was theological and literary activity that offered the proper milieu for the... Yeah, that sounds more like a mastermind operating behind the shadows. A dog, I don't know. The direct route to Strasbourg was closed by military operations, and Calvin had to make a detour through Geneva. That's where he met William Farel, who insisted that Calvin remain to help reform the church. When Farel had exhausted his arguments and failed to convince the young theologian, he appealed to their common Lord and challenged Calvin with a dire threat. May God condemn your repose in the calm you seek for study. If before such a great need you withdrew and refused your succor and help. Calvin continues his report. These words shocked and broke me, and I desisted from the journey I had begun. Thus began his career as the reformer of Geneva. So it sounds like he got into a big argument with Farel. He stayed in Geneva, but it still sounds like he wanted to be kind of like behind the shadows, like producing an intellectual framework for this thing. That sounds a little more mastermindy than what Father Josiah presented, which, what did he say again? He said, like, this comparison is important. He said that he would give his heart and mind to advancing the cause of the Protestant Reformation and to synthesizing and perfecting the theology of Luther, Melanchthon, Bucer, and others. That doesn't sound like, I don't know, maybe CanonAndCreed is right, but it's definitely not giving up the impression that he's some like mastermind, saying that his heart was softened and he became completely taken with the desire to study piety and theology. That seems like he's well-intentioned, whereas the Justo Gonzalez quote sounds more like a mastermind because he's trying to be the scholar and author, this like intellectual underpinning for the Reformation.
Who insisted that Calvin remain to help reform the church. When Farel had exhausted his arguments and failed to convince the young theologian, he appealed to their common Lord and challenged Calvin with a dire threat. May God condemn your repose and the calm you seek for study, if before such a great need you withdraw and refuse your succor and help. Calvin continues his report. These words shocked and broke me, and I desisted from the journey I had begun. Thus began his career as the reformer of Geneva. So Calvin's own testimony and historians like Gonzalez show us a reluctant scholar drawn into ministry by conscience, not a young intellectual that's hunting for a city to mold. So keep that in mind.
I don't think Father Josiah gave off that he was looking for a city to mold. He said he wanted to study piety and theology, and he gave his heart and mind to the cause of the Reformation. Where from this do you get that he wants to change a city to mold? I don't get it.
Luther, Trenham doesn't stop with psychological framing, though. He moves directly into political framing.
There is no psychological framing. We just read it. There was no psychological framing
as well. He writes, in September of 1541, the Council of Geneva, in a state of civic and religious turmoil, begged Calvin to return to the city and help settle its internal problems. He was 32 and would spend the next 23 years producing a
Phoenixer donated 19. Guys, W in the chat. W's in the chat for Phoenixer. Thank you. Since I don't have the drum roll for Phoenixer, we got to do W's in the chat. Alex, thank you for the effort you put into creating high quality Orthodox content. As a former Romanian Pentecostal myself, it's incredibly refreshing to see another come home through the prayers of Saint Nicholas. That's right. Glory to God. Guys, Romanian Pentecostal to Romanian Orthodox pipeline. Go from one Romanian church to another, to the Romanian jurisdiction of the Orthodox Church. I still can't tell if a second actuality says I still can't tell if this is intentional disinformation or he just can't comprehend the text. I think it's a little bit of both. I think he's looking for it and his reading comp is just not quite there. W Phoenix, thank you. Yeah, Phoenixer, thank you. I'm always trying to up the effort with each video. Oh, there's another super chat I missed from AI World Champion, donated $5 through super chat. Thank you, AI World Champion. God bless you. Don't mention Calvin was 27 years old. It makes them uncomfortable. Really? That's a little young, yeah. A 27-year-old lawyer. Peak of arrogance right there. 27-year-old lawyer. High praise from Father Stephen DeYoung. Yeah. Transfigured Life. What's up? Justin Menard. What's up, my man? I was born in Romania. Pentecostal. Yeah, Transfigured Life in the house. Justin Menard. Oh, somebody asked if I have an apostolic succession video. Guys, I did Justin and I are working on an apostolic succession video now, actually. Me and Father Ivanov and Justin Menard, we're reacting to one of Gavin's videos that he did with Gospel Simplicity. And eventually that will be out. There's just a little bit of editing, I guess, to do for it. But I called Miles out on DoorDash Thomist. What's up, DoorDash Thomist? Good to have you here. I called Miles out on X for claiming in his latest video St. Thomas held to a Protestant view of the church's ontology. Dude, in Miles's view, all the church fathers and all the doctors of the Roman Catholic Church are Protestant. I don't get how he's not Catholic yet. It's like the more and more I listen to him, I just think it's like the ultimate cope channel because it's like everybody was Doamne ajută frate from 1921 Gabi. Sorry, I saw some Romanian in the chat and then I just had to instantly spit that out. But yeah, with the thing with Canon and Creed is he just thinks everybody is Protestant, dude. Like he was talking about Saint Irenaeus and calling him a Protestant. He's saying that he has the same view as the Protestants. It's ridiculous. Okay, guys, back to the video.
Massive literary corpus and endeavoring to establish the Church of Geneva upon his...
Oh, wait, hold on. This is the second problem that Canon and Creed has with Father Josiah's framing. Let me reorient myself here. I'm going to look away from the comments for a moment so I can actually create some content for you guys here and give you some learning. In September of 1541, the Council of Geneva, in a state of civic and religious turmoil, begged Calvin to return to the city and help settle its internal problems. Okay, this is either a fact or it's either true or it's not. This is just a factual claim. He was 32 and would spend the next 23 years producing a massive literary corpus and endeavoring to establish the Church of Geneva upon his principles. This sounds more like, why didn't he quote this at first? This sounds more like he's trying to frame him as a mastermind trying to take over a city. The city council accepted his work on ecclesiastical ordinances in 1541. He established a consistory of pastors and elders to oversee church discipline and public morality. So you see here, this is a value statement that he endeavored to establish the Church of Geneva upon his principles. You don't necessarily know what people are endeavoring to do unless they say, I am endeavoring to do this, and there's like some explicit quote, but endeavoring is a state of mind. That's a disposition of your heart. So that's kind of hard to say about somebody, but if you have facts to back it up, then you can make these kinds of claims, right? And you see in the next sentence here, Father Josiah says, the city council accepted his work on ecclesiastical ordinances, and he established a consistory of pastors and elders to oversee church discipline and public morality. So again, we have a factual claim that is supporting the values judgment. Like Father Josiah is not a dummy. He is a smart man. He's a good writer, right? Like I read Rock and Sand. It's good. Like in terms of like pure writing, which I'm like a huge nerd about because we lawyers are nerds about it. By the way, here's some book recommendations on writing. Everybody should read Strunk and White, The Elements of Style, for just good writing. If you write anything, if you write essays in school, this is an extremely short book. This is like the writing Bible right here if you want to be a good writer. Very, very short. It's like not even 100 pages. It's 85 pages, guys. Everybody should read this book. And then if you want something more in-depth, On Writing Well by William Zinsser is like, I'd give this like a 6 out of 10. It's good. Like it's worth a read once. And then for any aspiring lawyers in the chat, Making Your Case by Justice Scalia. former Justice, well, I guess maybe he's always a Justice Scalia, you know, Antonin Scalia and Brian Garner. These are like my 3 recommendations for anybody who wants to be a litigator, like a courtroom lawyer, to teach you how to write and how to argue through the written word. But here we see like a value claim and then facts to support it. So I think this is fine to say he was endeavoring to establish the Church of Geneva upon his principles, because he's the one who established a consistory of pastors and elders to oversee church discipline and to oversee public morality. So he supported this value claim. This body of elders was to have the power of excommunication, which was the cornerstone of his entire system of church polity. Through the police force, the power of this consistory extended into every aspect of personal life in Geneva. So we have another factual claim to support this value judgment, that the police force, that the power of the consistory was exercised through the police force. It extended into every aspect of personal life in Geneva and would be the basis for much resistance by its citizens and grounds for the charge that Calvin created a theocracy in Geneva.
His principles. The city council accepted his work
So I think this is fine. This is a fully supported value judgment.
on ecclesiastical ordinances in 1541, and he established a consistory of pastors and elders to oversee church discipline and public morality. This body of elders was to have the power of excommunication, which was the cornerstone of his entire system of church polity. Through the police force, the power of this consistory extended into every aspect of personal life in Geneva, and would be the basis for much resistance by its citizens, and grounds for the charge that Calvin created a theocracy in Geneva. The consistory censured anyone regardless of age or sex. And now we see the common frame lock into place. Calvin supposedly returns with his principles, builds his system, installs his consistory, and
I mean, okay, is that untrue? If all those things are true, then it does seem like he built his own city, dude.
then through the police force, that extends its reach into every aspect of personal life, creating a Protestant theocracy position
So what Miles has to do is show that these facts that Father Josiah relied on are not true.
and Calvin at the top, which is a great villain arc. It's just not how the sources actually tell the story. Remember what we heard from
Okay, but how you tell the story, that's not the question. The question is, are these things true? Did he build the consistory himself? Did he choose these people? Was the consistory able to enforce their decisions with the police force? Those are the questions. And like, maybe this is why people appreciate my videos a bit, because like I try to go right to the question, and I'm not trying to avoid anything. I'm trying to get straight at it here. And it seems like Miles is beating around the bush. I mean, okay, maybe I'm speaking a little too quickly. Let's see what he has to say.
Gonzalez. Calvin originally wanted to go to Strasbourg. Geneva was a detour. He only stayed because William Farel pressed him, and he was eventually expelled from the city over his view of church discipline. When a new government later invited him back, it was because Geneva itself was in religious and civic turmoil. Now,
Okay, so from a litigation perspective, he's wasting time right now, because what he has to do is undermine the factual basis for Father Josiah's conclusion that John Calvin built up Geneva himself, and he's not doing that. He's wasting time. Like, none of this has anything to do with the claim that Father Josiah made in his book that he just quoted.
Now, because Calvin had found the perfect laboratory for his ideas. And when he did return in 1541, he did not walk into a blank slate. As lauded Calvin biographer Bruce Gordon recalls, and who Trenham cites in his own book,
Again, this is irrelevant. Objection. Irrelevant. Relevance, Your Honor?
the seeds of conflict were planted as soon as Calvin returned. With the ordinances, he crafted a particular view of the church.
With the ordinances, he crafted a particular view of the church, but one not entirely shared by the magistrate. Who cares? He envisaged a clearer separation of the church from the authority of the magistrate than the Genevan rulers were prepared to accept. On the issue of disputes over doctrine, for example, Calvin's text had originally proposed that contested points should be resolved by ministers, who could then call in the elders. The council insisted that the amended version read that the elders were appointed by the magistrates. Calvin's visceral distaste for any involvement by theologically untrained politicians in matters of doctrine was not to prevail. So he didn't get everything he wanted, but you can't miss the forest for the trees. Because, okay, so in some of the details, Calvin lost. Who won in the war? Calvin, overall, it was his ordinances that were accepted. It was his ordinances that crafted a particular view of the church, even if he didn't win on some of the details. So what? The overall corpus of the ordinances was accepted, and it was his corpus of work.
But one not entirely shared by the magistrates. He envisaged a clear separation of the church from the authority of the magistrates than the Genevan rulers were prepared to accept. On the issue of disputes over doctrine, for example, Calvin's text had originally proposed that contested points should be resolved by ministers, who then call in the elders. The council insisted that the amended version read that the elders were appointed by the magistrates.
Cassian King, Ortho Unk in the chat. What's up? Good to see you, man.
Calvin's visceral distaste for any involvement by theologically untrained politicians in matters of doctrine was not to prevail. In other words, we once again find Trenum framing things in such a way that leaves out the most important parts of the story, to poison the well before critiquing the theology.
He did not. These two statements do not contradict. So, again, Miles fails to actually undermine the factual basis that Father Josiah was using here. So the factual basis was, this was the conclusion, endeavoring to establish the Church of Geneva upon his principles, which, what was that quote? With the ordinances, he, Calvin, crafted a particular view of the church. Even though it was not entirely shared by the magistrates, he crafted a particular view of the church. That's literally the same thing that Father Josiah is saying. So again, just a basic failure of reading comprehension here from Miles. This guy's a midwit. I'm starting to think so. It's like, who cares? Like, he's not actually speaking to the points, dude. He's not actually speaking. Barrel-aged faith. Dude, you have half the YouTube ortho world watching you, Alex. Well, I'm good friends with all these guys. Like, Cassian reached out right away. Like, they're my friends. They encouraged me early on, especially Cassian. He was really early on. It was like him, Jay, Orthodox Kyle, and Cleve, like really early on. And Justin Menard from Transfigured Life. Really, really early on. So I'm really grateful for that. Like I told you, man, dude, it's a tightly knit community. We're all watching each other's streams. We might not always comment, but we are all watching each other's streams, dude. We all keep each other accountable. Phoenixer has become a member. Thank you, Phoenixer. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you very much. Good news, everyone. I'm getting chrismated on December 21st. Guys, Oscars 505W in the chat. W's in the chat for Oscars. Getting chrismated on December 21st. Glory to God. That is awesome. This is what we want more of. DoorDash Thomas says, Cassian King, will you ever make your streams on the Immaculate Conception public? Since 33, and I would like to hear your thoughts and reactions possibly. Yo, guys, don't sleep on Cassian King with Roman Catholic content. Don't sleep on Cassian King. Like, that guy... he might not have he might not be as confrontational as others, but he's like the content. If you actually like listen to his videos, guys, like the depth of content is there. Very, very deep. There's such a Cyrus Woolard, $5. There is such a heavy view on optics and framing because the corporate Americanist view of the faith. Oh, Cyrus Woolard, precept, Canon and Creed. Yeah. Yeah, it is a corporatist, like celebrity pastor kind of framing. Yeah, that's right. Damian Jacob, Alex, how dare you make sense and make good points? You're the one poisoning the well now. Yeah, I guess. Apparently I'm the bad guy now, according to Canon and Creed on Twitter. By the way, Canon and Creed was acting as if Alex was too small and random a channel to take seriously. Alex is less than 1K subscribers from having more subs than I will eventually, like very soon here. Very shortly, I'll have more than Canon and Creed because I'm about to start hitting the live streams hard here, guys. So subscribe if you're watching and you're not subscribed. Please, a reminder to like the stream and subscribe so I can get more subscribers than Canon and Creed, and then I can say a random person is talking about Father Josiah Trenum. Why would I care? We need an Alex Man Bad emote. Yeah, I need to update the emotes. It's been a second since I updated the emotes. I'll do that shortly here. That's a good point, Compendium. Okay, let's get back to the video. We've been taking a frolic and detour, as they say in tort law. A frolic and detour. We are off the path. But my point here was that, like, dude, these sources, like Bruce Gordon, this is saying the exact same thing that Father Josiah Trenum is saying. Again, this is a failure of basic reading comprehension. Basic reading comp. Like, he's just reading this and he's not gathering the point of what this text is saying. Like, all this is saying is, like, yeah, the ordinances that Calvin crafted, they crafted a particular view of the church. He just didn't get everything that he wanted. Shocker. Big deal. Who cares?
The untrained politicians in matters of doctrine was not to prevail. In other words, we once again find Trenum framing things in such a way that leaves out the most important parts of the story, to poison the well before critiquing the theology.
Is it really most important to say, guys, all of his ordinances were accepted, but there were a few details that were not accepted? Sam Tract has become a member. Let's go. Thank you, Sam Tract. We're on our way to pass the subscriber count of Canon and Creed. We're coming up. We're coming up, guys. We're coming in hot. Thank you for the membership. Yeah, so Canon and Creed is not actually addressing the issues head on, which is like, again, the factual basis here is he developed a consistory. The consistory had the power of the police force. And it was the basis for much resistance by its citizens and grounds for the charge that Calvin created theocracy in Geneva. Notice that Father Josiah is not saying that Calvin created a theocracy in Geneva. He's literally just reporting the fact that this was the grounds for the charge that Calvin created theocracy in Geneva. So remember, he started off this video with a just blatant straw man. A blatant straw man and just mischaracterizing. He's like literally, what's the term? He's projecting. Journey of Abundance donated $5 through Super Chat. Thank you, Journey. Video request upholding a threefold church ministry from Scripture and early church over and against Protestant twofold ministry. Yeah, that's an easy one. Maybe I could do that because that's like a low-hanging fruit because it's like, it's very simple, right? Paul had authority over Timothy. Timothy had authority over other clergy. There's three. I think Perry Robinson probably has one of the best explanations of this, that it's not a development of a threefold office. It's a development of terminology to describe the threefold office. Nikolai in Korea, dog, everybody's here. Father Stephen DeYoung, can't wait for your atonement book so we can finally put that nonsense to bed from the crypto Protestants. Dog, did you see his stream from like a week ago where he addressed Augustinian original sin? That was like already, I think, a death blow to the Latinizers' view of the atonement. I think that was already a death blow. You know what I love about Father Stephen DeYoung is that he puts things in such simple, consumable terms. Like, he does the work for you. He does all the synthesis of the information for you. That makes Father Stephen DeYoung great, is that you don't actually have to do much work. He makes it easy for the listener, for the reader, to understand what the concept is. And he identifies those fallacies like so seamlessly, and he points out the issues in their thinking. Dude, maybe I should actually link that in the chat. I'm going to link it in the chat real quick because it's a very, very good stream, if I can find it. It was the one from like 9 or 10 days ago. Father Stephen DeYoung. It's a very good one. This one, I think. I think it's like maybe around the 1 hour mark where he starts talking about it. Yeah, I thought that was an excellent stream from Father Stephen DeYoung. He addressed all those things in there. Okay. Back to Cope and Creed, dog. I'm 7:30, only 7:32 in.
This consistory extended into every aspect of personal life in
We're gonna hit the gas here, guys.
Geneva, and would be the basis for much resistance by its citizens and grounds for the charge that Calvin created a theocracy in Geneva. The consistory censured anyone regardless of age. In other words, we once again find Trenum framing things in such a way that leaves out the most important parts of the story.
Yeah, so him and Gordon said the same thing, so this is a stupid response.
To poison the well before critiquing the theology. Yes, Calvin returned in 1541, but he didn't return with uncontested authority, and he certainly didn't return with a system that the magistrates were prepared to rubber stamp. From the outset, they were already reshaping his ordinances and asserting their control. And this is what Trenum never tells the reader. The consistory Calvin helped form was not an independent clerical tribunal. It was a mixed body,
He never said it was.
dominated by lay elders who were appointed by the magistrates.
Yeah, so he's just trying to pull apart implications that are not necessarily implications of what Father just said. He's like, oh, he didn't say this fact that I think is important. Oh, he didn't say this fact that I think is important. Look, did Father Josiah present something false? One of his facts untrue?
and its own authority.
No, we're dealing in the realm of facts here, and it's just such a imprecise. It's such a sloppy analysis. No offense to Miles the person. I'm just talking about like this analysis. It is not good. He needs to read. I have 2 book recommendations for Miles in terms of learning advocacy. Making Your Case by Scalia and Garner, and Jerry Spence. Jerry Spence, Win Your Case. It's like a little woo-woo at the beginning. Like discovering the self and like confidence and stuff and feeling and listening, and that stuff is like kind of, but like part 2 is very good, where he talks about the chapter titles are discovering the story through psychodrama, preparing the decision makers to embrace us, talking about like the audience, telling our story, opening statements, direct examination, cross-examination, and the final argument. So it's like the last 100 pages of this book are like worth their weight in gold, for real, when it comes to advocacy and persuasion. Very, very good. Scalia and Garner, Making Your Case, and Winning Your Case by Jerry Spence.
Was spiritual, not civil. It could admonish and withhold the Eucharist, but any fines, imprisonment, or corporal penalties, those came from the magistrates, not from the consistory itself. So when Trenum says that through the police force, the power of this consistory extended into every aspect of personal life, the problem isn't that he frames it as if Calvin personally swung the baton. It's that he quietly attributes to Calvin's system what the broader civic structure in Geneva already controlled.
Gordon, didn't his own source say? 1055. His own source said the ordinance that were crafted by Calvin crafted a particular view of the church. It was just not entirely shared by the magistrates. So what's another way to phrase it? The ordinances crafted a particular view of the church, and one that was only partially shared by the magistrates. I mean, yeah, so people didn't agree. Like, shocker. This is just so low tier, man.
For example, Calvin's text had originally Calvin's system, what the broader civic structure in Geneva already controlled. The magistrates shaped the ordinances. The magistrates overruled Calvin on doctrinal procedure. The magistrates appointed the elders, and the magistrates controlled all civil penalties, including
I'm freaking muted. My bad. Okay, we're back. I didn't want to have the smack into the apple. Muted fallacy. Unmute. Thank you, chat. I can always rely on you guys. So basically, he's not addressing the facts that are underlying Father Josiah's claim. He's not addressing the facts that are underlying Father Josiah's claim. The question is like, did Calvin make the ordinances? Did he craft the ordinances? And did this craft the scaffolding for Geneva? Boomer mute. Thank you guys. Sorry about that.
including the power to send Calvin himself back into exile. Calvin wasn't running a theocracy. He was laboring as a pastor and theologian inside of an already contested political framework that constrained him, corrected him, and at points even opposed him.
But who made the framework? He's beating around the bush. He's not answering any of the questions. This entire time, he's just beating around the bush. Beating around the bush fallacy. Like, he's not addressing any of the points head on, and I think that's why it's so frustrating for us listening to him. I think I finally pinpointed it, is that he's beating around the bush. He doesn't address any of the factual claims head on.
And just like with Luther, this matters because Trenum builds his entire critique of the Reformed tradition on this open framing. If Calvin is introduced as the architect of a police-enforced theocratic experiment, then of course his theology will look like the machinery of an autocratic mind. But once the historical Calvin is allowed to re-enter the picture, the reluctant scholar, the pastor constrained by councils, the man repeatedly checked by Geneva's rulers, the foundation of Trenum's critique begins to crumble.
CanonAndCreed's foundation begins to crumble, because that's not what Father Josiah said, dude. That's not what he said. We have two quotes from Father Josiah Trenum. Neither of those quotes say what you say he says, Miles. None of those quotes say what you say he says.
After casting Calvin as the mastermind of a Protestant theocracy, Trenum then walks the reader through a list of Genevan consistory cases designed to portray Geneva as a grim surveillance state with Calvin at the helm. First, we read, the consistory exercised discipline against a widow who prayed requiem prayers at the grave of her departed husband, a goldsmith for making a chalice, a barber who tonsured a priest, against someone for saying the Pope was a good man, against one who criticized Geneva for executing a heretic, and against someone who sang a song critical of Calvin. The consistory forbade card and ball games, regulated how much cutlery and how many plates were allowed to be used at the table, prescribed the clothing that could be worn, abolished Christmas Day and made it a normal workday, and forbade brides from adorning their hair on their wedding day.
Honestly, that sounds pretty miserable, not gonna lie.
Calvin's hand was intimately involved in almost all matters of the consistory, and it took its cues from him. There was great public resistance to his moral oversight. And this is where Trenum wants the reader to imagine Calvin sitting on a kind of Protestant throne.
Dude, is this true or not? Like, he just beats around the bush. Like, just say, this is not true because. And then your video wouldn't be an hour and 42 freaking minutes long, dog. This is untrue because. Get to the point. It's disrespectful to the viewers. He's disrespectful to his own viewers. He does them a disservice by not getting to the point. This is why my videos have so many cuts, dude, because I'm trying to get you guys straight to the point.
Steering a moral police force and dictating at the micro level the daily life of an entire city. And this is designed to sound like, look at all these absurd petty punishments that Calvin the tyrant inflicted, yada yada. And folks, this is centuries-old rhetoric that's being parroted as fresh analysis and appraisal.
So is it true or not? Dude, like, I'm about to lose my mind here, dog. Like, all of this filibustering, all of this throat clearing, like huff, puff, so much smack talk. Get to the freaking point. Nobody cares about your personal opinions. They care about the point. Get to the point.
But none of it reflects the actual structure, function, or power of the Genevan consistory, and in fact, it actually exposes the ignorance or dishonesty of Father Trenum. Turning again to Bruce Gordon.
How? I'm like here begging, dude. Sessions were presided over by a syndic, as this was a secular church body, secular-church body, and 12 elders from the two councils attended along with all urban... Okay, so what?
Gordon, he notes that sessions were presided over by a syndic, as this was...
It's because somebody presides over something doesn't mean that Calvin cannot influence that thing.
A secular church body, and 12 elders from the two councils attended along with all urban ministers. And that one sentence vaporizes Trenum's narrative if you know the...
What? Guys, I'm sorry for the sudden... But, like, how does that vaporize? Well, Father Josiah, this guy is out of his mind. Where's the reading comp? This is the equivalent of saying, guys, all of the congressmen in DC, they're the ones who actually cast the votes. So like all those lobbyists that are lobbying them, they have no influence on the votes in Washington because the Congress people actually cast the votes. This is absurd. Because 12 elders from the two councils attended along with the urban ministers, and it was a secular church body. I guess Calvin could not influence it then. It was impossible. I think he meant to say validates Father Josiah Trenum. Yeah. I think he meant to say validates Father Josiah Trenum. That's right.
Secular church body and 12 elders from the two councils.
This is so low tier, dog.
Attended along with all urban ministers. And that one sentence vaporizes Trenum's narrative if you know the history. The consistory was not Calvin's personal court. It was not a clerical star chamber, but a hybrid body that was chaired by a civil magistrate, the syndic. And it was populated with lay elders chosen from Geneva's councils.
Father Stephen DeYoung says he's not planning for anyone to watch it. He just wants Protestants to be able to point to the fact that there's a multi-hour refutation online and not read the book. I agree. I think that was the intention. I do think it's weird, though, that the way he reacted to me on Twitter was, like, so weird, man. He got, like, really, really defensive. Yeah.
The same councils, by the way, that exiled Calvin in 1538 and repeatedly pushed back on his proposals. So from the very beginning, John Calvin was working inside a system that he does not control. Ordinary Genevan...
Alex, you missed Father Stephen DeYoung's message. Don't make him super... Bro, if I ever have to make Father Stephen DeYoung super chat anything to get my attention, that would be the end of me. I would be very disappointed and ashamed of myself. I scrolled up. I think I got it, but he was correct. I 100% agree with that. It's just for Protestants to be able to say, like, oh, go watch this 3-hour stream. And that's why I do these streams. That was one of the reasons why I started doing my videos. because people were sending me Gavin Ortland videos, so I just sent them my own videos back.
Were not silently bending the knee to him or his pastors. Families, council members, and even prominent civic officers resisted them openly, pushing back on their summonses, challenging their authority, and appealing to the magistrates when they disagreed. And those magistrates frequently sided against the pastors. This wasn't a city locked under Calvin's moral fist. It was a city pushing back, sometimes aggressively, against the very disciplinary structure that Trenum implies Calvin controlled.
Just beating around the bush.
Early modern historian and Professor Jeffrey R. Watt makes this unmistakable. He
Upset by the growing authority of Calvin. Upset by the growing authority of Calvin. Isn't that literally what Father Josiah said, dude? Yeah, I'm so
notes,
annoyed.
some can even kindly, not aggressively. Upset to excommunicate should be under the...
Literally, this is the only important line here. Upset by the growing authority of Calvin. Vindicated. He cites sources that don't help him. This is so weird, man. I'm shocked.
Purview of the council. This dissension between the pastors and the council was quite remarkable. In short, through the mid-1550s, the ultimate success of Calvin and the consistory looked far from certain. But this is exactly where Trenum blurs categories, and he makes a very remedial error. He constantly treats the consistory and the government, or the magistrate, as one seamless power block. Then he places Calvin over both.
Does he ever do that? I don't think so. This seems like a straw man. His own sources prove Trenum's point. That's what I'm saying, sincere hypocrite 1402. That's what I'm saying. He's not reading his own sources, dog. It's so weird.
Which is simply false. Bruce Gordon explains the consistory's actual jurisdiction, where he notes, those who appeared before the consistory were interrogated, sometimes individually, before a course of action was determined. Most frequently, the consistory would admonish or reprimand, quoting passages from the Bible. Such verbal censures could have a powerful effect. It had, however, other options at its disposal, including reparation, the ban and referral to the small council. The ban meant forbidding participation in the Lord's Supper. And this is key. Trenum's entire list, these disciplines he wants you to imagine as harsh enforcement, was overwhelmingly verbal admonition and pastoral correction. No fines, no imprisonment, no corporal punishment, and no police force. The consistory's only real teeth were spiritual.
Is that what this says? The consistory couldn't use police force? It just says most frequently they would admonish or reprimand. Some Genevans clearly resented the introduction of major disciplinary changes by clergymen who were virtually all French and new arrivals. Didn't something else say they used the police force as well? I don't know. I don't actually know that one. Maybe somebody in the chat knows. I feel like I saw another quote that said something about them using the police force. I don't know.
Frequently, the consistory would admonish or reprimand, quoting passages from the Bible. Such verbal censures could have a powerful effect. It had, however, other options at its disposal, including reparation.
New to Orthodoxy and not converted yet, but how do Protestants think they have a leg to stand on historically? Orthodox has been here all along. Protestant criticism doesn't change anything. I mean, they are ignorant about the history generally. Generally, your average Protestant on the street, I'll grant that, like, they probably have the consistory had a man executed. Yeah, Michael Servetus. So, like, I don't get this point here. It's kind of goofy. Yeah, I think the average Protestant on the street doesn't know that much church history, or they know, like, very, very little. The consistory had a man executed. What? Yeah, Michael Servetus. It appears he might not have looked into Father Josiah's bio before making these vids. He opened with Father Josiah talking about his background at Westminster Seminary, and that was the best part of the video so far. Like, if you say someone doesn't most frequently murder someone, then it doesn't absolve them of murder. I think, yeah, it's a similar fallacy that he's making here. They say the church went dark for thousands of years. Yeah. Okay, let's get back to this.
The ban and referral to the small council. The ban meant forbidding participation in the Lord's Supper. And this is key. Trenum's entire list, these disciplines he wants you to imagine as harsh enforcement, was overwhelmingly verbal admonition and pastoral.
Okay, so he actually admits it. I missed this, that he used the word overwhelmingly. Overwhelmingly verbal admonition. Yeah. So, okay, that's a quantifier.
Correction. No fines, no imprisonment, no corporal punishment, and no police force.
Overwhelmingly, no fines, no prison, no punishment, no police force. So he just worded that in a really misleading way.
The consistory's only real teeth were spiritual. Things
Only real teeth. I mean, it seems like the real teeth are the freaking police force and the executions.
such as admonition, reproof, and temporary suspension from the Lord's Supper. Anything beyond that belonged entirely to the magistrates. And you see that most clearly in the headline heresy cases that always get laid at Calvin's feet, like that of Michael Servetus, a popular incident that Josiah Trenum also seeks to saddle Calvin with. But notice again what Jeffrey Watt points out. The fact that formal heresy, which was so central to the concerns of the Roman and Spanish Inquisitions, was not a primary focus of the consistory is most evident from the fact that neither Bolsec nor Servetus ever appeared before Geneva's consistory. Their cases went directly to the small council. In other words, dealing with heresy was not a duty of the consistory, which Calvin was a part of. It was
So because it didn't happen frequently and it went to another body, Calvin had absolutely no influence on this.
relegated exclusively to the magistrates that Calvin himself was subordinate to. And Gordon spells that out too. The consistory could send a malefactor before the small council, which would mete out more draconian punishments, such as banishment or even the death penalty. The consistory was essentially a court in Geneva.
He's defeating himself, dude.
So Father Trenum blurs the line between the consistory's admonishments and the magistrate's punishments. When he tells you the consistory was regulating plates and hair, holidays, or civil offenses, he's collapsing two independent bodies into one, and then acting as though Calvin was at the top of that merged entity.
The consistory was essentially a court in Geneva. I'll move. He's defeating himself, dude.
For civil offenses, he's collapsing two independent bodies into one, and then acting as though Calvin was at the top of that merged entity. And this becomes clearest in one of Trenum's most sensational claims regarding the Pierre Amiot situation. He writes, Calvin himself was not known for his humility, and thus reacted poorly to the public's resistance to his measures. In 1546, a member of the Little Council, Pierre Amiot, called Calvin a wicked man and a preacher of false doctrine. Calvin felt that the Bible itself was being attacked, since he, the chief interpreter of the Bible, was being so. The civil authorities offered to make Pierre beg Calvin's pardon on bended knees before the large council of the 200. Calvin considered this insufficient and declared that he would not enter the pulpit again until he had been given satisfaction.
Is this true or not? Like, dude, I know that he's going to cut off of this screen from this quote and he's not going to address whether this is true or not because he beats around the bush. He doesn't actually get to the point.
Pierre was sentenced to walk around the town only in his shirt, bareheaded, and carrying a lighted torch, and then to present himself before the tribunal and cry to God for mercy. This Pierre was not a peasant, but a member of the civil government. And this is pure rhetorical fiction for his very obviously selective framing. First,
it's because you guys are so funny in the chat. I'm going to blame you guys. You guys are the best chat ever. I can't like not 12-hour stream to finish the video. All right, my bad, guys, my bad. Honestly impressed with the number of people in the stream, close to the same amount of people watching my stream with Wagner and Since 33. I mean, we're pretty cool in here. We're pretty cool in here. We'll try to debate Roman Catholics every now and then, but they're a chill stream in here. I think you guys should be in my stream, not in Wagner's stream. You guys should be in the Orthodox streams, but let's get back to this because I do actually want to at least get through an hour. I haven't gotten to the point where I want to gouge my own eyes out yet.
Calvin never called himself the chief interpreter of the Bible or viewed himself as such. This is
He didn't say that Calvin viewed himself as the chief interpreter of the Bible.
just the same thing we saw in part 1, where he tried
That was Father Josiah's conclusion. He never said that Calvin said that.
to use Luther's biographer to say, look, even his biographer admits that Luther believed he was the Protestant Pope. Yeah, and then we fact-checked that and saw how selectively framing it was. Trenum simply needs Calvin functioning as a Protestant Pope for the narrative that he's spinning to hold up. And second,
I mean, he said he started his own church, dude. He started his own church, just like the Pope, the first Protestant.
irony is that the Amiot incident does the exact
No shade, DoorDash Thomas. This is just... I'm very disappointed in this video. Yeah. Long streams are the best. Major salute, Alex. Thank you. Good. I know there's an audience out there for it. If I make my videos, my actual like edited down videos to the point, and then I do the long live streams, maybe it's a good balance. Hey, look at his veins. Look at his veins popping out of his neck. He's so mad. He hates orthodoxy so much.
opposite of what Trenum claims. Historians like Robert Kingdon do note that Amio was serving on the small council at the time, and this is exactly the kind of detail that Trenum pounces on, using it to make Calvin look like a tyrant who could bark orders at government officials. But this is spin that omits the most important details. Amio was being disciplined as a citizen by his own peers, the magistrates, while John Calvin remained a pastor with no civil authority whatsoever. When Amio misbehaved,
that doesn't mean you can't influence things. Like, this is so stupid. A lobbyist is a private citizen with no influence whatsoever, or no authority whatsoever. That's so goofy. APAC is a private organization with no authority whatsoever. I guess we don't have to worry about them, guys.
He answered to the magistrates that he served with, not to Calvin. Furthermore, Amio wasn't mounting a principled theological critique of Calvin's exegesis of the Bible, which shows that this chief interpreter of Scripture rhetoric is simply that, rhetoric. Trenum presents this as Calvin versus a magistrate on the doctrine of predestination. But the actual offense, the thing that ignited the conflict, was political. Amio publicly denounced Calvin as a dangerous foreigner whose doctrine threatened Geneva. That was the insult the magistrates reacted to, not a debate over theology. The council had...
I would just like some quotes, please. Cool it with the anti-Semitic. Ooh, that's a American Psycho quote. Cool it with the anti-Semitic. I got the reference, Danny Town. Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks. Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks. Yeah. That's not a good movie. It's not a Christian movie. 30 more thumbs up, chat. Come on, yes. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Has there ever been a Reformed theologian who has responded to Father Josiah's book just to, only an internal dialogue, not an actual response, an internal dialogue for Protestants only? I find it interesting the first person in 10 years was a random YouTuber. Yeah. We was Israelites and Shia. Do you suffer from ecclesial anxiety? Symptoms include cope, iconophobia, crying in your small group. Talk to your priest about orthodoxy. But dude, that would be such a... Dude, somebody should make that commercial. You could probably make it on Sora or something, like some... what's the term? Like a satire like commercial. Like make it like some SSRI type commercial. This entire video is him reading Rock and Sand with a frustrated tone and getting mad at Father Josiah is not interpreting these events from a prop POV. Like it. That is spot on. That is exactly my impression. That is spot on. That's funny. Yeah, honestly, as soon as I get ready to crash out, I go into the chat and you guys lift up my spirits. I keep on going because of you guys.
Had the power to punish. The council carried out the sentence. Calvin could only protest and attempt to influence the magistrates, which he did, but he didn't command them around.
Do you guys just hear what I heard? Let's play that again. Let's play that again in normal speed. Did you guys just hear what I heard?
Calvin could only protest and attempt to influence the magistrates, which he did.
What? Oh, I'm dead. Calvin could only attempt to influence the magistrates, which he did. Dude, this is a joke. What am I listening to here? This is so bad, dude. Why is he confessing? He just undermined his entire video. I was on fast speed the whole time. This is normal speed. What a blunder. An utter blunder. Sleeve6 donated $10 through Super Chat. Thank you, Sleeve6. This video made me borderline violent. Dude, I'm not gonna get over that. That's so funny. Oh my god, dude. This video made me borderline violent. After 15 minutes, I couldn't take it. You're the only way this slop is bearable. Guys, it's a synergy. We're working together. If I was watching this alone, it also would not be bearable. But because I have the chat, we are slowly making our way through this very, very bad video. Danny Town donated CRC 1000 through Super Chat. Imagine him visibly frown every 5 words of the book. Oh, dude. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, lobbyist analogy vindicated. He confessed. I'm sorry, Your Honor. He confessed, dude. Alex, can I send you super chats while you're in court? Alex skipped to his actual theological points. Oh my god, dude. Okay, I'm putting this. I'm putting the speed up again. Contemporary Compendium donated $5. You're the man. Thank you, bro. I just want to see the dancing avocado. Yeah, it's like through Streamlabs, there are a few avatars. Dude, I can't believe he just said that. He just undermined his entire video. That's what Father Josiah was saying, that Calvin put together these ordinances that affected the scaffolding for the structure of Geneva, and then he influenced the system like a lobbyist. And then here's Miles. Here's Miles. I just got to play it again, dude.
Calvin could only protest and attempt to influence the magistrates, which he did, but he didn't command them around.
Oh my goodness. Is this what, like, people that are not constantly tested by a lawyer on the other side, like, this is why you have to engage in debates. It makes you better, dude. Most selective streaming. That's right, Nikolai. I might have to log off soon. Call me Alex Snorin. But enjoy your sleep. It is getting a little late. We'll keep going here. But yeah, dude, this is, oh my god.
Far from revealing Calvin.
This is why you have to debate. It makes you better when you debate. It makes your views better. But he doesn't get any of this feedback because it gives him bad feelings. So he doesn't want to engage with other people.
As a Protestant dictator, the Amio affair exposes Calvin's political weakness. He was influential, yes. He had a voice, he could push, etc.
Danny Town has become a member. Thank you, Danny Town. God bless you.
But he never held the civil sword. Trenum presents this as though Calvin was bossing around this guy who was a magistrate. Yeah, no. His entire
quote, please.
Caricature requires Calvin to control a merged church-state apparatus that never existed. So when you restore the actual...
Nikolai, give me a timestamp. Give me a timestamp, Nikolai. He set up a theocracy, but it doesn't count because it wasn't a dictatorship. Yeah, Silver Ogre. But he only lobbied sneakily. He admitted that. This is not a disputed fact that he influenced the system anymore. It's not disputed. He just admitted that Calvin influenced the system. This is not a disputed fact. Where is the disagreement? Now, there's no disagreement anymore.
Historical structure, the Calvinist police state narrative evaporates, and it shows what Trenum is very clearly trying to do for the reader before then critiquing theology. We now arrive at the bridge where Trenum finally begins critiquing theology, free will, and election. And right out of the gate, we run into...
Sam Tract, Alex, I got you. Go to 142.11. I mean... Canon and Creed can't debate. You can see how unhinged his X responses are when he gets the smallest pushback. He did. He just fell apart. He fell apart, dude.
To basic errors that no Westminster-trained minister should make. First, he writes, Calvinism is dependent upon Lutheranism for its commitment to sola scriptura, justification by grace through faith, the denial of free will, and many other points. Oh, brother, and now we get the standard John Calvin and Calvinism deny free will caricature. Yeah, no. Not Calvin, not the Reformers, not the Reformed confessions, not even the scholastics who systematized Reformed theology.
Did I not literally just read this quote from Bondage of the Will? I just read this quote from Bondage of the Will that refutes what he just said. Let's go back to that quote again. It is fundamentally necessary and wholesome for Christians to know that God foreknows nothing contingently, but that he foresees purposes, and does all things according to his own immutable, eternal, and infallible will. Which things? All things. Not some things. This bombshell knocks free will flat and utterly shatters it, so that those who want to assert it must either deny my bombshell or pretend not to notice it, or find some other way of dodging it. Before I establish this point by my own arguments and scriptural authority, I shall first state it with the aid of your words. This is friggin' Martin Luther, dog. This bombshell knocks free will flat. Hello? What is this guy talking about? This guy has no idea what he's talking about.
After Calvin, and it's time that this tired caricature was finally retired. The Reformed distinction, like Augustine's, is between natural liberty, the ability to choose freely, and moral ability, the ability to choose God apart from grace. To collapse that distinction is to misrepresent not just the Reformed, but the entire Reformational tradition. And this isn't a Protestant spin either. Reformed theologians themselves have been...
You have to read Bondage of the Will and the interpretation of Miles to understand it properly. Miles is the infallible interpreter of the fallible authority. Former SDA, now Orthodox. Come and see. Glory to God. Another convert from the Seventh-day Adventists. 1 hour, 9-minute mark, as well as decent. I'm having fun with this free will section. 4340 is when he tries to use Jay Dyer against Father Josiah. Where are we at? 23. I'll listen to this section a little more, and then maybe 4340. We'll skip to. This is so low tier. He literally just said Martin Luther teaches free will. He expressly rejects the existence of free will. I don't know how much more clear you can get than this. It follows by resistless logic that all we do, however it may appear to us to be done mutably and contingently, is in reality done necessarily and immutably in respect of God's will. Yeah. It's based in pure act, in actus purus. Yeah.
saying this for hundreds of years. As Reformed scholastic Louis
Silver Ochre, bondage to the will is the opposite of freedom of the will. That's the thing. How can you say freaking Martin Luther taught free will when his landmark book is called Bondage of the Will? Hello? You could read the title of the book and know what Martin Luther's position is. This is so ridiculous.
LeBlanc notes, most doctors of the Roman Church usually attribute to Calvin and others who share his religious views the notion that they take away free will from man and deprive him of all freedom in action. However, the consistent opinion of all reformers is that free will, simply considered and according to its proper nature and essence, is something that cannot be separated from a rational creature, and therefore the faculty of acting freely was not entirely removed from man by sin.
You know what's funny is that this is like the opposite of the Orthodox view, is that our will was truly free when we could act in accordance with our faculty of the nature of the will. Our faculty of the will by nature. That's when we are truly free, like in the original state, like in the garden. Now our will is inhibited because we have to do this like balancing of the factors and reasons to try and determine what is right and wrong. And I think this is a point that Father Stephen DeYoung makes very well, actually. I forgot where I heard him say that.
And since people will inevitably claim I'm appealing to some obscure nobody that no one's ever heard of, listen to Trenham's former
How about Martin Luther? I think he knows what Martin Luther taught.
mentor, R.C. Sproul, who is expositing the Westminster Confession on free will. Although the will has been tragically marred by the fall, we have not lost our ability to make moral choices. What we lost was the moral ability to choose righteousness without grace.
Yeah, so, okay, even if there are some Calvinists that say we have the ability to make choices, like bona fide choices, even from a compatibilist perspective, we're not saying that they all teach there's no free will. We're saying that is a necessary entailment of their view. It's like literally just one more step of thinking. But it seems like Miles can't get there. Like, he doesn't understand the concept of entailments. R.C. Sproul believes in total depravity. Yeah. I mean, he has like a whole seminar on that online. My Calvinist friend said we have free will to anything except to choose God. So then it's not to anything. If we can't respond to God's own appeals, then nothing else we do matters at all. I mean, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's get back to the video.
We've not lost.
Kind of wild. Father Stephen DeYoung. Ah! I caught it as it came in this time. Kind of wild that he's trying to impute Jonathan Edwards' view of the will to St. Augustine too, even though St. Augustine had a completely different definition of will. If you talk about that on your next Twitch stream, I'll be there to listen for sure. Yeah, I'm not, I don't have on the top of my head what exactly Augustine had to say about the will. But honestly, I think the whole view falls apart with the point that you made, Father Stephen, that St. Augustine saw sin as a privation. So that right off the bat, the Calvinists have a different anthropology because they talk about sin nature. DoorDash Thomist, Alex, would you deny that election is prior to the consideration of merit, or that grace is the cause of our choice of God? Even Calvinists affirm all men receive sufficient grace. I would say that election is by foreknowledge. I'm pretty sure that's what the Confession of Dositheus says. It's not through will. That would be the difference. Like Martin Luther says that it's all through because God willed it. We say it's through God's foreknowledge and the synergy between God and man. Dude, I am behind in the chat. Predestined to make the flub. We're free to choose anything except God. Mom, I spend my evenings the same way Father Stephen DeYoung does on Twitch. No, okay, hold on. Father Stephen DeYoung will limit himself to like an hour, and it's also theological work. Also, Father Stephen DeYoung has written like 6 books. Maybe when you write 6 books, then you can play some video games. He also has like, what, thousands of hours? Father Stephen in the chat, massive W. Yeah, he also has thousands of hours of like podcast and educational material out there. So I don't think anyone in the chat can compare themselves to Father Stephen DeYoung. The thing is, guys, there's levels to this game, right? There's levels. And Father Stephen DeYoung is on a different level. That's why we have to show great respect for our clergy members. And especially those that put out so much work to bring the heterodox back into the church. Like, he is doing a lot of work to do that. It's excellent. No one would read my books. Well, I mean, everybody has something to say. You just got to figure out what it is and put it out there.
Our ability to make moral choices. We still have wills, which are.
Right, I'm going to skip ahead because this free will thing is so dumb. No offense. It's bad. 4340, Nikolai told me.
J. Dyer.
Now, great.
When you talk about the
Cleve.
right?
Consistent. Modern apologists,
dude, look how giddy he is to get to this. He's so giddy to get to this J. Dyer quote.
Openly acknowledge that conciliar canons are not dogma and are not treated as if they were, which is the very distinction that Trenham's argument must deny in order to try and make Protestants.
Yeah. What? Hold on. Did he say?
And are not treated as if they were, which is the very distinction that Trenham's argument must deny in order to try and make Protestants look inconsistent. But listen very closely. Modern apologists openly acknowledge that conciliar canons are not dogma and are.
Yeah. They can include dogma. There can be like a canon that anathematizes someone, but like a lot of them are like administrative rules. You have to read each one and take each one. It's hard to make a sweeping statement on those. You have to take each canon on its own terms.
And are not treated as if they were, which is the very distinction that Trenham's argument must deny.
Wait, he's saying that Father Josiah Trenham said that all canons are dogmatic? Is that what he's saying, Nikolai? That is like just a basic blunder. That is a very basic blunder. I don't know any Orthodox person who teaches that. I don't think anybody's going to say that Canon and Creed knows Jay is a heavy hitter, so he was chewing at the bit to ankle bite here. Yeah, my bad, DoorDash Thomas. My mind is kind of in a different place right now. I would have this conversation a different time, but I want to get through a little more of this video. This is a bad argument that Canon and Creed is making. He's saying that the canons are infallible dogmas. Nobody thinks that.
Argument must deny in order to try and make Protestants look inconsistent. But listen very closely here to Orthodox apologist Jay Dyer.
Now, I guess question for you: when you talk about the infallibility of ecumenical councils, right? What do you refer to specifically regarding the ecumenical councils that is infallible?
The dogmatic teachings.
Okay, how do you separate between the canons that are dogmatic and those that aren't?
No, canons are not the dogmatic teachings. Those are two separate things. Canons.
Okay, he was asking. He said, "Pay attention to Cleave's question, though."
Okay, how do you separate
between the canons that are dogmatic and those that aren't? The question itself says that what I just said, basically, that not all the canons, if you hit the back arrow, it rewinds 5 seconds at a time. Oh, bet. Where's the back? Bro, am I blind? What back arrow? Oh, you're talking about on my keyboard. All right, bet. Thank you. The ghost of Cleave. Evil Cleave. The Cleave clip. Whatever happened to the Cleave guy anyway? Dude, oh, he's trolling. The Cleave clip. Yeah, yeah, hold on. That's the thing, is that this guy, Cleave, is Orthodox now. Why is he using this clip? And the very question that Cleave is posing undermines the point that Miles is making. Miles is saying that the canons are dogmatic. Cleave is saying, like, look, some of the canons are dogmatic. How do you distinguish between the two? It's actually a very nuanced question from Evil Cleave. By what standard do you know which ones are dogmatic and which ones are like administrative, whatever? The question itself, this is actually totally inapposite. Here's a lawyer word for you guys. Inapposite. Has nothing to do. It's a non sequitur with what Canon and Creed is saying. Super chat. Orthodox Wario donated $2. Thank you. Super chat. The Cleave conversion made this guy crash out. He might, dog. Do you see his veins in his neck this whole time? They're about to explode, dog. Like, give this man some blood pressure medication.
Okay, how do you separate between the canons that are dogmatic and those that aren't?
Yeah, that has not that. This question undermines Canon and Creed's point. This is just a running theme with everything that he cites. Like literally 90% of Canon and Creed's citations undermine his own position. It's pretty sad to watch. This is why he needs to open himself up to being challenged. It will make him better. I don't know why he's so weird about that, man.
No, canons are not the dogmatic teachings. Those are two separate things. Canons are not the dogmatic teachings. Those are two separate things.
Yeah. They are.
Two separate things. Two separate things. Canons are church law. So that's applying the principles to the time and to the place. And those things are flexible. They're binding, but they're not necessarily infallible because it doesn't.
Yeah, it's like slightly more nuanced. Like, I think some canons are dogmatic, but like most of them are just administrative.
Doesn't make sense to talk about infallibility for something that's a temporal decision or judgment.
20 minutes later.
We don't have any.
Why are you interrupting me, man? I'm giving you clear examples that show that we don't follow every single canon, and your whole argument is just that you're bound to it like a Protestant would view the scriptures.
Yeah, I think Cleave's point in this interaction was that you don't need to apply every single canon, but you at least have to go through like the procedural aspect of evaluating each canon. And then after that, you can't just outright deny each canon. I think that's what Cleave was saying. But either way, none of this supports what Canon and Creed is saying.
Okay, so you're saying that the bishop themselves can say whether or not...
Okay, this is about the 10th time that we've answered this question, and if you're going to keep being obtuse, what's the point of yes, how many times do I have to tell you that the bishop can determine these things? That's what we just said for the 5th time.
Yeah, in each individual case, man. In each individual case. That's oikonomia, right? But not whether or not you outright reject the canon.
No, that's exactly what they can do. They can decide that canon no longer...
Yeah, I think here they were talking past each other a little bit. Yeah. Good night, Cyrus. Thanks for tuning in, man.
applies.
Okay, no longer applies in perpetuity?
Yeah, sure. In this...
Okay, from Nikolai. He basically says Father Josiah is claiming that canons are infallible, which isn't what the quote he uses says. Shocker. That is like the theme of this whole video. He like quotes Father Josiah and then like takes an extrapolation out of the quote and is like, this is Father Josiah is saying that Calvin built Geneva. And then he quotes some other source that is basically like, Calvin greatly influenced the power structures in Geneva. And he's like, see, he's not a direct dictator. He's not a direct authority. Like, this is so goofy, dude. How long have you been streaming today? I'm 2 hours and 24 minutes in. JPull 92. Yeah, what's the threshold is what Evil Cleve was asking. Yeah. And they were speaking past each other a little bit here, because what Jay is saying is that the bishop can evaluate the canon and decide whether or not to apply it, or like to what degree to apply it. And Evil Cleve was saying, like, well, you have to at least evaluate it. And I think they were just speaking past each other a little bit. Since 9 p.m. Yeah, I've generally been streaming later in the evening. Canon and Creed hasn't heard Cleve's "the cannons are not Yu-Gi-Oh! Trap cards" analogy yet. Yeah, they're not. They don't activate by operation of the cannon. You need somebody to apply them. Chat, don't forget to hit the like button. Octavian is right. Thank you, Octavian, for the reminder. All right, let's get back to the video.
Is Kate?
They have that capability to say.
All right, this is so stupid. We're not gonna. I'm done. This is the dumbest thing I've ever had to deal with.
That is how I feel about this video right here.
This is so stupid.
It doesn't need to be documented. That's how the church.
That's why he's moving the goalpost for the 5th time. Where is the documented case that a bishop can actually say that it's not for him? Binding and loosing means that he knows when to apply or not apply. Not apply means that it's not bound anymore. Not bound anymore. Not bound anymore.
Yeah. I activate my canon card. Yeah. Yeah, hello, that's right. Cleve was a good faith Protestant. I mean, you can tell that he was asking the right questions. For sure. He was asking the right questions.
So Jay refutes Father Trenham's faulty presupposition.
Oh, he got him. He got him. Dude, this guy is clueless, man. Whoa. What do you... Dude, look how much he hates orthodoxy. His freaking veins are popping out of his neck, dude. He hates it so much. He hates it. He hates it. Okay, dude, I forgot to use the arrow.
Binding and loosing anymore. Not bound anymore.
So Jay...
he got him with the infallible cannons. He got him.
Refutes Father Trenham's faulty presupposition better than anything we've looked at, because the caller was operating on the exact premise that Trenham lays out, that cannons function like dogs.
No, he misunderstood that entire exchange, dude. He misunderstood that entire exchange. Yeah, I would love to get Cleve on here to talk about this. Is he on a boat right now? I summoned cannon in the attack position. Cleve literally admitted he was autistically wrong about the cannons. Did he admit that he was wrong? I think they were just, I can't stop noticing Miles's veins since you pointed it out. Dog, he is seething the whole time. He's so mad. He hates orthodoxy. He hates it. He loves Calvinism. He loves his determinism, free will. He got him, bro. Look how happy he is that he got him.
Dogma. And Jay's entire response was, no, that's a fundamental misunderstanding. And the moment that the Orthodox themselves acknowledge that canons are not dogma, not infallible, not universally binding, and can be tightened, loosened, adapted, or set aside,
by the bishops, not by everybody. That's why they're in charge. They have the carrot. This guy is just, oh my god. I hate to be mean, but like, dude, it's just so bad faith. I don't know. Dude is passing a kidney stone. I have to be a little nicer. I'm getting a little too out of hand. Find someone who looks at you like Ganon and Link looks at his camera. Uncomfortably giddy. Yeah. Jim Bob is hilarious. He would totally soundboard this. He got him.
The entire force of Trenham's alleged unanswerable dilemma collapses. You've already conceded the very distinction he denies. You've already acknowledged the exact framework that Protestants use when they affirm Nicene dogma, but not every 4th century canon.
So even the Orthodox are Protestant, I guess. That's technically Orthodox are Protestant. 1 hour, 9 minute mark is good. Skip after this part, but...
You can't claim Protestants are inconsistent for refusing to treat the canons of the councils as immutable dogma.
Did I not predict this argument in my last video? I'm pretty sure I anticipated this argument in my last video, my last stream on this, where I said, like, oh, they can say that we don't apply the canons, but they can't say that because we have a system to evaluate and apply the canons. So... what was it? 1 hour, 9 minutes.
When the Orthodox themselves don't treat them that way, that's a double standard. The Fathers didn't, the Reformers didn't, and the Orthodox today don't. So who exactly is left with an unsolved dilemma? Then we arrive...
Him, he is. He is left with an unsolved dilemma because they don't actually apply any of the canons. We have a system to apply and evaluate it. Okay, 1 hour, 9 minutes. Let's skip ahead so I can actually go to bed a decent time tonight.
Reformed theology. And the irony is hard to miss. This is precisely the kind of mystery that Eastern Orthodoxy claims to cherish. Along the reading journey, we also come across a charge that is so used. But after walking through the actual evidence, it's painfully clear that Father Trenum is, because this is one of the richest, most architecturally beautiful layers of Reformed theology. And the irony is hard to miss. This is precisely the kind of mystery that Eastern Orthodoxy...
There's so much smack talk, so much beating around the bush. Like, dude, be direct in your arguments and stop... This is with the way these people, these like, how old is Miles a Zoomer? I'm not trying to throw shade at all the Zoomers, but like, guys, for the love of God, please try to use concrete language and don't get stuck in abstractions all the time and beating around the bush. It's just so irritating to listen to. Don't get stuck in abstractions.
Claims to cherish. Along the reading journey, we also come across a charge that is so large, so theologically reckless, that it almost collapses under its own weight. That Calvin attacked the gospel because he denied Christ's descent into hell. Trenum writes, Calvin denied the reality of Christ's descent into hell while attempting to affirm the validity of the Apostles' Creed. He argued that this phrase was simply an image for the sufferings Christ endured on the cross and of his death in the body. Here is yet...
That's interesting because he also said that the Father damned the Son.
One more instance in which Calvin rejects a universal Christian belief, and one which lies at the heart of the church's gospel. By denying Christ's descent into hell, Calvin has attacked the gospel and damaged the saving message of Jesus Christ. So now the charge is that Calvin didn't just misread the fathers, he also altered the creed, rejected a universal Christian belief, attacked the gospel itself, and damaged the very heart of the gospel. A massive accusation that can't even withstand the lightest of scrutiny. For starters, speaking about the descent, Calvin writes, here we must not omit the descent to hell, which was of no little importance to the accomplishment of redemption. A place must be assigned to it, as containing a matter of great importance, which ought not by any means to be disregarded.
Does that have anything to do with whether it's symbolic or not, though? Calvin denied the reality while attempting to of Christ's descent into hell. He argued that this phrase was simply an image for the sufferings Christ endured on the cross and of his death in the body. This does not refute. It's a non sequitur. This has nothing to do with what Father Josiah said. The question is whether he really did or whether it's an image, like a symbol, whatever. Octavian33 999. Thank you, Octavian33. He did what my Reformed friend does. Grok from Reformed positions. Dude, I also have a Reformed friend who does that. And he'll never talk to me like a normal person, like on the phone or in a chat or in person. It's always in Facebook debates. There you go. I confessed to Facebook use. I'm a boomer now. He did what my Reformed friend does. Grok from a Reformed position refute this. Also, everyone should read Religion of the Apostles. Yes, everyone should read Religion of the Apostles. It has a lot of the scaffolding you need to understand the most basic concepts in Orthodoxy. Yeah, so this Calvin quote doesn't actually address what Father Josiah's objection was.
Importance, which ought not by any means to be disregarded. Yeah, Calvin explicitly affirms a real descent and the descent clause in the Apostles' Creed, just not Trenum's medieval geography. Calvin rejected the limbus patrum, not the creed, and he explicitly said it was a key part of redemption, a place must be given to it.
Word concept fallacy, because Miles, because hell doesn't equal Hades in Orthodoxy. Calvin didn't have a Hades-hell distinction. Oh, so this is even more off base than I originally thought. Yeah, it's even more off
because
topic.
It contains great importance. Furthermore, Rufinus of Aquila was a 4th century priest and the
Pentecostal fallacy, that's right. X implies Y. Actually, X implies Z as well. Dude, you guys are funny. Does Father Stephen DeYoung have a YouTube channel? Yeah, he does. He has a Twitch channel, and he takes all the VODs from his Twitch, and he uploads it to his YouTube channel. I'll put it in the chat right here. He does. Go subscribe to Father Stephen DeYoung's YouTube channel. Yeah. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel, guys.
The author of the earliest full commentary on the Apostles' Creed. Well, notice what he tells us is exactly how the phrase in question was originally understood. Regarding the phrase descended into hell, Rufinus writes, in the Creed of the Roman Church, we should notice the words descended to hell are not added, nor for that matter does the clause feature in the Eastern churches. Its meaning, however, appears to be precisely the same as that contained in the affirmation buried. And Calvin reiterated that same history. He writes, indeed, some of the ancient fathers do not omit it, and hence we may conjecture that having been inserted in the creed after a considerable lapse of time, it came into use in the church, not immediately, but by degrees.
Yeah, so if what Nikolai is saying is true, then literally none of this has anything to do with the harrowing of Hades. There's no explicit harrowing of Hades doctrine in Calvinism, hence why this descent of Christ is so murky in Reformed soiology. That makes sense, and that's probably why they ended up saying that, like, Christ is the Father damns the Son. He sends him to hell, not to Hades. It's crazy, dude. Now this is the part where the Protestant appeals to obscure schismatics and the... Yeah, I was going to say that about Rufinus. Didn't he have some weird views, Rufinus? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so because they don't have that... I think that's a good point Nikolai made, that they don't have the Hades-hell distinction. Literally none of this speaks to Father Josiah's point. It's all moot.
So let's line this up. Rome originally didn't have the phrase. The East originally didn't have the phrase. And when it appears, it's treated as another way of speaking about Christ's death and burial. That's the ancient interpretation that Calvin affirmed.
I mean, just read 2 Peter, dude.
A medieval Western development cannot retroactively rewrite the original meaning of a far earlier creed. Now apply Josiah Trenum's own logic. If interpreting descending into hell as Christ's death and burial is attacking the gospel, then Rufinus attacked the gospel. If omitting the clause means rejecting universal Christianity, then the ancient church, both East and West, rejected the gospel. But Trenum won't say that because he can't.
Do I have to respond to this? This is so bad. Trail of Blood Baptist moment. Yeah. Trust me, my views are ancient. All the heretics believe it. Yeah, dude. Do you only stream on YouTube? Yeah. I think there's a plugin where I can do it on Twitch as well. I would like to do Twitch. I think we need more Orthodox content creators on Twitch. For real, for real. Father Stephen DeYoung, I think, is onto something there. Absolutely. Is Miles saying the harrowing of Hades was a medieval development? Yeah. That's why I'm kind of losing the face red droopy eyes. That's why I'm kind of losing the vigor to respond to this, because it's like everything is, they were all Presbyterian. Everything is a medieval development. Have you guys read Trail of Blood? I have not read it, Smeagmore, but I'm familiar with the premise of it. Basically, they're the heretics throughout history. Like, I saw the chart somewhere and I was like, oh, this basically sums it up. Also, I had a very bad time reading Bondage of the Will. I did not enjoy it. I didn't like it. I marked up the whole thing, literally, like, everything is bad. So I don't think I'd be able to bring myself to read the Trail of Blood book. Why is Miles so mad? I can't imagine being this angry while recording a video. Sometimes I get into it too. I'm too busy stuttering and needing water. Oh, I feel that, dog. There's something about, like, dude, put me in front of people and I can talk, but put me in front of a camera and now suddenly I'm, like, so conscious of every single word that I choose, dude. He really thinks the harrowing of Hades not being in the Nicene Creed means the East didn't teach it. Isn't it in the Nicene Constantinopolitan Creed? I'm pretty sure it's in the 381 Creed, dude. Okay.
The meaning of he descended
into... like, I'm exposing that I haven't, like, perfectly memorized it. I'm pretty sure it's in the Nicene Constantinople. There's a word for you. Politan Creed. If the Orthodox Wiki servers want to actually operate properly, this would be cool. How is this not, like, instantly popping up? This is crazy. He was crucified, was buried, rose the third day. Yeah, I guess it's not. Whatever. No, I'm creating memories, dude. It was suffered and was buried, and on the third day, yeah, whatever. The Orthodox Wiki servers are so bad. I don't know why. Yeah, server hosting on Orthodox Wiki is shoestring tier from my experience. Yeah, it's really bad. Okay, whatever. Let's go back to Canon and Creed. Oh, that's me. All right.
to hell cannot be what Josiah Trenum claims, because if it did, the ancient church, both East and West, stands condemned. And ironically, by his own standard, Eastern Orthodoxy attacked the gospel. As we round.
So because it's not in the creed, it never existed. Okay, whatever, dude. Forget about the liturgies. Forget about Easter and the liturgies.
Things out, Trenum levels.
That's the thing, is that like, because Radesh Andre 198, good to see you, man. It was in the creed, meaning it was never taught. Let's pack it up. It's over, guys. That's the thing, is that like the Apostles' Creed has it. Oh, I mean, isn't that the one that the Protestants always pride themselves on? Like, we can affirm the Apostles' Creed. Yeah. Here it is from the Christian Reformed Church. He was suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, and was buried. He descended to hell. Third day, he rose again from the dead. I mean, yeah, I guess the Eastern Orthodox didn't teach it, dude. Whatever.
Final sweeping accusation, this time not against Calvin, but against the entire Protestant doctrine of salvation. It's
the irony of this guy saying he won't take anyone seriously who backs rock and sand. Argument from silence by Canon and Creed. All the Cappadocians taught it, yeah. And all the ancient liturgies taught it too, dude. All the ancient liturgies taught it.
Self. First, he writes, Protestant soteriology is focused on salvation as a past act, accomplished in response to the...
Yeah, the descent into hell is in the ancient prayer to the cross. Yeah. We have so many sources of theology in Orthodoxy, and folks like Canon and Creed just don't quite understand that, honestly. They get so caught up in like technical details, they forget that like there's a whole body of theology in iconography, in the liturgy, that we have access to. He's going to do a part 3, Alex. Yeah, I know, dude. I'm getting ahead of the curve.
The act of faith. From this moment on, the sinner has been radically transferred from being under the wrath of God to being under grace. Not all Protestant confessions agree on whether or not the salvation can be lost, but all these confessions, sharing a perspective on salvation as winning a courtroom declaration of pardon, produce a spiritual life that focuses on the concept of salvation as past act. The great quest for the Protestant is to make sure that one has been saved, and then to help others get saved. And this, of course, is the classic saddling of Protestants with the idea in many evangelical circles of easy believism. Salvation strictly refers to a one-time past event and nothing more. But this might be one of the clearest proofs for why Protestantism should be distinguished from that world, not lumped in alongside it. For starters, notice what Reformed theologian J.V. Fesco explains. Ordo Salutis became a technical term in post-Reformation theology, typically denoting the sequence of election, calling, faith, justification, sanctification, perseverance, and glorification, or some iteration thereof. However, the term, or its variants, were used by early modern Reformed theologians.
I'm kind of done with this, guys. This is just like such slop, honestly. Just the same slop that we always see. See, this is like the most reluctant thing I've ever reacted to, honestly. You guys remember when when Cleve first brought it up in the chat, and he was like, Alex, you should do a reaction to this thing. And I was like, bro, it's so long, man. And yeah, after telling him it was so long, a bunch of you guys said that I should react to it too, and I did. And honestly, I think overall it makes for good content. I'm glad I did. But it's like, there's only so much I can take of this, dude. There's only so much I can take of it. It's okay. Canon and Creed was double predestined to make these bad takes. These guys posting their YouTube videos, so glad they are documenting their errors. Makes it easy. Yeah. Peak prot slop. Yeah, it's just slop. It's the standard talking points. The thing is, they just never want to address the best arguments that we have. That's why they have to straw man them and say like, look, they say that their canons are fallible. Yeah, dude, everybody thinks that. I don't know any Orthodox scholar or apologist in his right mind that says the canons are infallible. Father Stephen DeYoung, a historic transition from wrath to grace. It's literally the Reformed language that Father Josiah is using. He's having Presbyterian language quoting to him and objecting to it. You know who would be great to respond to this? Father Stephen DeYoung, who this is way below his pay grade. But Father Stephen DeYoung also has an MDiv, I believe, from a Reformed seminary. Historic transition from wrath to grace is literally the reformed language Father Josiah is using. He's having Presbyterian language quoting to him and objecting to it. Yeah, as you said, Father Stephen, I think that it's just supposed to be something that people can send to their Orthodox friends, telling them to read Rock and Sand, and just put people like on notice, I guess. This is the reaction that I got as well when I got kicked out of my independent non-denom Bible church. Was just an unwillingness to listen and to address things on the merits. It's like a very visceral, like, gut reaction. Father Josiah said they focus on past salvation. Canon and Creed said that Father Josiah said Protestants relegate salvation to being strictly past. Yeah, again, just mischaracterizing. So Canon and Creed misconstrued Father Josiah's words. Dude, he did that from remember? That's literally the first thing he did that he pointed out in this video, was that he started off with a straw man. They teach once saved, always saved, but they also say it's not a one-time event. Yeah. Well, it's basically just easy believism. I think that, like, they would object to that term, obviously, but any form of sola fide is easy believism. I think because they don't see, what's the Greek term? I think it's pistis is the Greek term, which, again, translates as, like, faithfulness. When it's like, dude, when you guys get married and you are faithful to your wife, do you think that's just a mental assent? Father DeYoung says, I went to the same seminary as Father Josiah, Westminster. We grew up in the same part of California, too. No way. What did they put in the water there to get scholar, priest, theologians? That's awesome. Very cool. At Westminster, we grew up in the same part of California, too. Very, very cool. Yeah. Small world, I guess. And look, both of you guys put out excellent books. Wrath to Grace is 101 Calvinist theology. I was Reformed. This is exactly what Reformed teachers say. Yeah. It's really just this isn't true Reformed theology, or this is a caricature of Reformed theology. Like, come on. Oh, we got a super chat. $9.99 from Phoenixer. Your time is better used elsewhere, brother. Blessed fast, and God bless this ministry. The way your content is increasing exposure to orthodoxy in America is amazing. Dwam Nyajuta. That's right, Dwam Nyajuta. Lord help us. Glory to God. Okay, guys. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate you having again. I'm going to wind down here. Probably going to head off to bed. But again, I think we've just proved, like, from the very get-go that, you know, this is just kind of pop slop apologetics here. He's misrepresenting Father Josiah Trenum. The very first thing, like the very first foundation stone of his argument here was that it was a straw man. And it didn't change throughout the rest of the video. And it's just basic reading comprehension mistakes, I think. Like, and he admitted at one point where I think that just kind of refutes his whole video, where he said at one point, like the lobbyist analogy, where he said, well, he said, John Calvin wasn't a dictator, although he did influence the authorities in, dude, what was that timestamp? He did influence the authorities in Geneva, but he just wasn't a dictator running around, and it was like, what, 22 or something? I don't know. I'll find it later, but I think that, like, ruined the whole stream for real. Thanks, Alex and chat, and Father DeYoung, bless. Yes, thank you, Father DeYoung, for jumping in here. Always a pleasure to have you, and to get your comments on these things as well. You are, like, probably the expert on this, but great to have you in here and to have your takes as well. Nikolai, is he gonna go live? Guys, if Nikolai goes live, go catch his stream. So, all right, guys. Alex, you should review RZ's recent ecumenical council video. I'll take a look, because it's not, thank God, it's not 1 hour and 42 minutes. Like, my dude, how long is Canon and Creed's part 3 to this gonna be? Like 3 hours on Swingly? First time, and it was fun. Thank you, David Pipes, for tuning in. Yeah, W Father DeYoung. That's right, W Father DeYoung. Glad you guys enjoyed yourselves. Thank you for the super chats and the gifted memberships. Again, it really means a lot to me, supporting the channel. It's great. So I'll catch you guys soon. I'll be posting on Twitter, so the link to my Twitter and my Instagram are in the description below. If you follow me on Twitter, like I'm always posting updates and like whatever my thoughts I got running through my head. So if you want to have like the most one-on-one interaction with me, X would be the place to go. So 24 hours on Swingly. Dude, you guys crack me up. I can't even go to bed because your guys' comments are so funny, dog. How do you make a 2-hour video and not make any points? W Alex, W Father Joseph. Dude, you guys are funny. All right, but have a good night, guys. I'm going for real this time. God bless everybody. God bless your family.